ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
It's all on the line. Here we go.
And the moment of truth has arrived.
What a match-up this is. What a game.
The umpire holds the footy up.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on earth.
On ABC Sport, this is the AFL.
Oh, there's a bit to get inside of the net.
The intensity and the pressure in the ball is unbelievable.
Take your moment. This is that moment of the game of footy.
This is just football at its best.
And that'll be it. From walking on thin ice to dancing on the mountaintop, the Brisbane Lions never stopped believing. And they are the champions.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
He filled the river a magnificent goal.
Comes out, gathers, snaps, goal.
An extra bit of class.
He smashed that through. What a kick. Goes bang with everything he's got.
They are leaving nothing out there.
Listen to the roar.
The drop punt. He's gone. And the building is jumping.
We know he's a big shot taker. He's a big shot maker.
Leans back on the kick. Game on.
Like camera action, baby. Countdown to contact.
From the right forward on it. Oh, he's a sharpshooter, all right.
Step up in the big moment.
Points to the man on the mark. Drop punt. He's there. Gathers. Snaps. He'll bring the house down.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
He'll put it on the boot. Kick up towards the logo.
You take a seat, cause it don't get better than
He
this.
defies the laws of gravity.
He runs onto it 50 from goal. He's in Dusty's pocket. He shoots. Oh, he's as bloody good as Dusty. Oh, yeah.
Rose snaps goal. The drop punt. It's good. And you can hear that mighty roar.
See, cause it don't get better than this.
Ball's one way and the next and the snap. There's the finish.
60 out. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
That's a massive hit. Big time spot. Big time goal kicker.
That's why we love football.
3 to 1.
From the centre wicket. Whacks it for 6. Scores level. Running past. Throws it on the left. Could that be the sealer? Seconds ticking down. We're not done yet. What a finish.
Welcome to the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport. On radio, on digital, and on the ABC Listen app.
You take a seat, cause it don't get better than this.
The Friday Night Lights, they burn in 2 locations tonight, not just here at the mighty MCG, but also over in Adelaide, as Ken Hinkley farewells his time as Port Adelaide coach, while Travis Boak also departs after his 387th and final game. But our focus in the immediate term is what's happening here at the G when the 15-7 Magpies come up against the 7-15 Demons. For the Melbourne Footy Club, it's the end of the line and a start of a new era, while for Collingwood, they're hoping to qualify in the top 4 for the 5th time in the last 8 seasons and give themselves a double chance heading into the spring. It's all in front of us tonight. There's no late change here at the G. The 2 subs, Roan Steele for Collingwood and Harry Sharp for Melbourne. The Demons, in fact, with the same 23 that lost to Hawthorn last week and weren't overly competitive in that game. Interesting selection there. Troy Chaplin coaching the team for the last time as the caretaker coach. Significant change, obviously, with the sacking of Simon Goodwin in the not too distant past, while the Magpies are trying to put it back together after they ran the table for much of the season. They've since lost 5 of their last 6 games. They do get back Jeremy Howe tonight to play against his old mob. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Most of the gangs here, slightly few changes in different seats. Our thoughts with Kelly Underwood, who unfortunately isn't with us tonight, but suitable replacement. He's come straight in after being the EP of our Friday night coverage all season to call the action for us. Ben Cameron's alongside me. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Corbin. Great to be here. It feels like a minute ago we were here on King's birthday. I looked down to the left forward pocket at the punt road end of the ground. It was the right back pocket for Melbourne. Max Gawn, as time expires, dumps it on the boot, looking for a spiral into the middle of the MCG. Tumble punt, turnover. Stephen May goes up to him and says, "What was that? What are you doing?" And everything that came along with that. The Pies win by a point. That was the last time these two teams met. Doesn't feel like that long ago. But we know now that Melbourne's season is over and the Pies are trying to secure a top 4 place.
Same as last week, so early start, so don't get caught out without the opening bounce. It'll be 7:10 local time, which is 35 minutes away. And then we'll be out of here very quickly post-game. We'll be off to the latter stages of the match between the Power and the Suns. If you want to hear that in its entirety, you can toggle between the two games at your own choosing through the ABC Listen app, so the AFL and the AFL Extra buttons. My name's Corbin Middlemass, by the way. I think I was meant to mention that off the top of the broadcast and left that little minor thing out as I'm introducing everybody else, including the legendary Cat, 3-time premiership player, premiership captain Cameron Ling.
Good evening, Corbs, Benny, Mick.
Corb expects everyone to know who he is nowadays.
That's right. You just hear that voice and you go, that's Corbin.
I need no introduction is what he's saying now.
Felt like they allowed me to reintroduce myself. I missed it off the top.
Brilliant work. I come here and I just assume Collingwood are going to win, but I've probably done that for a couple of weeks now and it hasn't gone that way. They've certainly lost their form and not playing the type of football that they were playing earlier on in the year. The other thing about coming here tonight, though, is if Collingwood do go on and win, they've got to keep going on and winning by maybe a lot or maybe at least a comfortable margin because they're on 60 points. Hawthorn are on 60 points, and if they were to knock off Brisbane, maybe, and also GWS are on 60 points. Collingwood percentage, 123. Hawthorn's percentage, 122. And GWS's percentage is 115. GWS probably likely to win as well. So even if all three of those win, we could have the top 4 decided on percentage. So the Pies have got to win, Mick, and keep on winning. Win well.
The legendary coach, he, of course, has coached more games than anyone else in VFL, AFL history. Premiership player, 3-time premiership coach, the coaching icon, Mick Malthouse. Hello, Mick.
Hello, Corby. Hello, Benny and Lingy and all our listeners. One side you didn't mention.
Who's that?
Gold Coast.
Now, oh yes, they've got the double game, haven't they? Of course.
And look at their percentage, Lingy. Just sort of tell.
Oh, right on the 121. So basically the same as Hawthorn and Collingwood, pretty much.
And they may well be playing a side that's having Mad Wednesday, so that might give them a chance on Wednesday to finish off round 0. Yeah. So we won't know until Wednesday. We may not know the final setup until Wednesday.
Is it a bit of a danger game for the Suns tonight against a emotion charged?
Absolutely, it will be. That could be decided tonight. That the Wednesday game might be insignificant unless they lose that too. But I think the significance of Ken Hinkley's tenure at Port with the players he's had, the players, and of course we've got Boat going and so forth. I think they'll try to play the house down for him, and we don't know the pressure that's on Gold Coast. There's no doubt their coach will handle it. It's whether their players now are starting to get a little bit, well, hang on, we don't want to get injured, and we've got, I know we're 9th, but we're technically not. We're actually in the 8. There's a heck of a lot at play tonight.
Could you imagine if Gold Coast do go down, Port Adelaide get up for Moke and Hinkley, and then they play Essendon, who just... It's the last game. It's been a horror season. They throw caution to the wind and Essendon go for it. And all of a sudden they're 2-3 goals up at half-time of that game. The tightness that the Gold Coast Suns
you'd have someone, Barrick. You'd have Corby would be screaming at the top of his lungs. He would be beside himself.
We'll hear from Paul Guerra in just a moment as well, who was an Essendon fan until recently. Now he's the chief executive of the Melbourne Football Club, and we'll hear from Jordan Roughhead as well. Tim Hodges will join us on the boundary throughout the coverage, just repeating there's no late change between the Magpies and the Demons. Now, if you've just been listening to the cricket and you're wondering where on earth the coverage of the cricket's gone during the innings break, you can find it through the ABC Listen app. So click on the white cricket ball button. So that's click on the white cricket ball button. You can follow along through the ABC Listen app. South Africa batting first, all out, 277 in the 49.
Bit short. They were going okay. They were looking at 300. I don't know whether we're capable of 300. Actually, you're the man. They should have had you out there. Hey, they only need They only need probably 20 balls, Lingy, to make your 50.
Oh no. Very slow.
He's Gower-like, isn't he? You're stodgy, aren't you?
Oh no, look, Jeffrey Boycott.
Sorry.
Technically efficient. Thank you.
I like it. It's a diplomatic way to put it. The news of the day and the news of the week really has obviously been the sanction for Isaac Rankin. So he's going to miss 4 games. That means he won't play again this season unless Adelaide lose their Week 1 final and then still make it all the way through to the last Saturday in September. Matthew Nix, the coach of Isaac Rankin and the Adelaide Crows, spoke today.
Well, I think Isaac's got some great support around him. And I think the fact that he's, the detail that's gone through, he's acknowledged where he went wrong. and he's worked his way through that in the right manner. He understands that we've got to be better in that space, but it is he's not the victim in this, and by no means do we want that to be looked at that way, and he knows that, but it's been quite a tough period for him.
Matthew Nicks speaking today after the 4-match sanction was handed down. I also saw the statement that was released by the AFLPA and interim CEO Ben Smith. There was a line in it which jumped out to me, which reads, "This incident again highlights the need for more of an effective and united approach. While there is a strong alignment across the industry in rejecting homophobia, the AFL's focus on sanctioning players in the absence of a holistic strategy is not delivering the cultural change we need." Now, I must admit, my sort of cynicism went up a little bit. I thought, well, doesn't this rest with the players, ultimately? Yes. That as much as there's this holistic strategy, you can say to the AFL, hey, we want this, we want that, and everything else. Can we have a bit more of that? Ultimately, it's up to these guys, isn't it? Like, the players have the opportunity to rid the game of homophobia, and that is what league office is asking them to do.
I agree with you, Cobbs. This is on the players and each individual player to not have that language in their vocabulary, to not have it locked and loaded and ready to go should they get a little bit hot under the collar and a bit fiery and want to fire something. It's not a word or it's not even a word, it's not even a theme of words that should be used at any stage. I've been, as a former player, I've been really disappointed with the whole process. I think it all took too long. I think it's either a matter of he said it and therefore should be sanctioned. I don't get, and I'm happy to be helped and guided with what possibly could be the compelling medical evidence that reduces the ban from 5 weeks to 4 weeks. The whole thing I don't think has been acceptable if the AFL is genuine in making sure the players understand not even a hint of this is acceptable.
I can tell you tonight too that the Adelaide Crows AFLW team weren't happy that the club didn't accept the original sanction, so they were disappointed that the Crows fought it without basically accepting the initial penalty that was handed down, which was 5 games. Obviously there are many openly gay players as part of the AFLW unit here. It's obviously one that's pretty close to my heart. I came out in 2018 and I wrote an article for the ABC website at that particular time and talking about my relationship with the game and how I'd always felt a little bit of a conflict on that front, that there were no openly gay players in the league or very little voices or people in the media. And I probably felt like a little bit in the last 24 hours, the focus has been a lot on AFL headquarters, where I sort of feel like surely the focus should still be on Isaac Rankin and on the Adelaide Crows. And if anything, I kind of feel like for the first time in my time following the game, that at least someone's doing something about it. This is the Andrew Dillon, and sure, it's sloppy as all get out, and there's a lot of rough edges, and there's stuff that they could have done better, but imagine if we said 2 years ago that a player would be suspended for a final series for 4 games for using a homophobic slur. It just blows my mind that we're even in that position, and that's mainly due to the fact that Andrew Dillon is adamant that he wants to stamp it out of the game, because the incidents, we've had 6 in 2 years. We haven't gone from 0 to 6. Like, clearly it was happening before, and it was dealt with in other ways. It was swept under the rug, whatever happened. So basically, even though it's not necessarily the way I would choose to handle it, at least they're doing something about it. And there's one person there that's basically saying, hey, this is going to stop.
But given the players have seen others, you're right, it would have happened before the 6, but the fact that they early on copped a 3-week ban, a 4-week ban, and haven't learnt from that.
Yeah.
That's almost the most disappointing aspect.
Well, I think that points to the fact that if this is language that you use casually, when you're in the stress of a heated moment, you will reach for it, which you alluded to earlier, Lingy, and that's what disappoints you most about it. So I think it tells us that they are using the language casually, or it would seem that way to me anyway.
Doesn't it rest at the feet of the players, though, to clean that up? And at the Adelaide Crows, I mean, even from a football point of view, Mick, like if a player was getting, say, the slam tackles or the sling tackles, and the AFL's cracked down and said, hey, we got to release one arm in the tackle. So what happens? Everyone goes away and they practice and they make sure they release one arm when they tackle someone to the ground. This is not only is this the 6th occurrence, it's the 6th different club. So when does a team recognise or pull the group in and Brad Scott spoke beautifully about it during the week, where he said, hey, we've done a couple of educational sessions with our group. We did a meeting that was recorded and we found that one of the words was actually used that was a homophobic slur, and we played it back to the group and we said, hey, if you get caught saying that on the field, you're going to miss a period of time. How have none of the clubs in 2 years, or seemingly none of the 6 clubs, put more resources into that to say, hey, we don't want to miss a player for 4 weeks, so just from a football point of view, forget the social side of it, we can't afford to miss someone for 4 weeks for that.
Yeah, you wonder whether that hasn't happened though. You know, we're not really privy to what's happened behind those closed doors and whether they've. You know, it's a bit like the bump. The bump's still going. I mean, I know it's totally different, but what I'm saying is, you can enforce. You know, a player will get 2 or 3 weeks, maybe more, for a bump. It's not going to stop players bumping. It happens. You can train all you like. You know, that's what you said, Ben. You know, if it's in the system, it's in the system. It's hard work. I'm bowing out of this one because I've got a thought process on this that is a little bit different than others. But let me tell you, there's no room for it. Let me tell you that straight away. But I would have run the system differently. And I'm not prepared to go through that.
No, I'm the same, to be honest. I think this is clearly the approach he took, and he went with a punitive model rather than an educational model.
Yeah.
And they've almost wedged themselves into a corner where if you're going to take that approach, and you know, in a way, this is my opening premise, which is at least someone's doing something about it. It's not the way I would have done it.
Yeah.
But
can I ask on that though, Mick?
Yeah.
You played in an era where
I played the 70s.
Yeah. So racial comments would have been made and heard, and at different times by different players. Not going to get into who, what, anything like that. And then there was the moment where basically it started, no, this is unacceptable. And then there were still instances of it.
And there still are.
But it was pretty strongly punished, and the education came with it, and the number of times dropped dramatically to the point of near zero. Is that okay to say at AFL level, near zero from players? Not zero, I'm not suggesting that.
Well, that's roughly right. Yeah. I think if I'm right, I'm saying it was a teammate of another seconds player, perhaps in the same club we're talking about, may have got seconds.
Yeah, so that's the one recently.
That's the last one I can think of.
So the fact that change could be made when it came to racial vilification, why can't we get the same change from this when people are so much better players, are so much better educated around?
I don't think we've been as educated in this regard. Racism was the first thing that they tackled, and it's taken this long. Maybe we're looking at thinking that we can just click the fingers and it's going to be all honky-dory, because it will take time, and it's going to take these instances, and it's going to take these suspensions that is going to wake up people in long term. I just don't know whether you can just go bang and that's it. Yep. That's only my view. But I have different views altogether about what happened last week. And I'm, as I say, I'm not going to go there, but just totally incorrect. Totally incorrect. So there's no doubt about that.
It sends a pretty clear message, doesn't it? That it's as I touched on, even from a footballing point of view, that if you are going to do it, you're going to sit on the sidelines for a period of time. And whether we need a set penalty, and there's so many other ways I think that we could do it more streamlined than perhaps the way we're going about it. But as I said in my opening premise, I find it hard to sit here and criticise Andrew Dillon today, where it feels like there's so many other people that are at fault along the way as to that as a particular starting point. The other news of the day, obviously that the teams are out for Sunday's game. So Kyle Lohmann comes back in along with Ty Gallup and James Tunstall. So this is the Brisbane team, but they lose Berry and Hipwood both through injury. The Hawks are unchanged, so they play the same 23. That's the Sunday night game. And the Dogs match is interesting. So young Sanders has been omitted. So Riley Sanders loses his place, business end of the year. Artie Jones takes his place. There's still no room for Adam Treloar, so he's coming back from that calf injury.
That looks more like get another game. Mind you,
he can't.
I'm right, he's no seconds, so maybe it's just a really big training session. You can't take a punt. If he breaks down again, Benny's gone.
Yeah. Is the concern around that sometimes your second time up is the most difficult, coming back from an injury, Lingy?
Yep, fatigue, all that kicks in, the soreness, the joint dysfunction, the skeletal dysfunction from just copping the hits and everything like that just might load up that area a little bit more, and you risk something popping.
So Davidson's in the side, who was out for a long while.
He's playing.
Back in the side. He kicked 2 goals last week, and Croft's still in the side.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's interesting, because that means that if you're going with Croft this last game, you're saying, he may well be part of our finals campaign if we manage to win this game. So they would think that their side is better with Davison in the side, clearly, because he went off the ball. Remember, I was surprised how he went from wing to half forward.
Yeah.
And at starvation corner at times, back in the side, kicks 2 goals. I don't know whether he played wing or half forward, but Croft's the interesting one. 198 centimetre young player. Take a grab.
He looked dynamic last week, Mick. I was stunned by
So you would
what he looked like.
Okay, so you've seen him. I didn't. So you would suggest the way he played.
He took some pack marks and jumped at the footy and was
that
dynamic.
changes dynamics again.
Yeah.
You know, and you come into September and you need a dry track. Look out.
Fremantle team, Hayden Young comes in, so Driscoll's out, so it's a big in for the Dockers. A huge game for Fremantle, as it is for the Dogs. Winner makes it, loser doesn't. It's almost a wildcard game. It's a pseudo-elimination final come early in the regular season. Justin Longmuir is going to join us tomorrow, the senior coach of the Fremantle Dockers, so looking forward to catching up with JL. He'll be the 17th of the 18 coaches we've had this year on AFL Saturday, so looking forward to catching up with the Dockers coach tomorrow ahead of the biggest game of the home and away season so far. Speaking of catching up, I had the opportunity to chat with the incoming chief executive of the Melbourne Football Club, Paul Guerra, just a short time ago, and I started by, of course, thanking him for his time on ABC Sport.
Pleasure to be here, Corbin.
You've been a very successful businessman. Is this your biggest challenge so far, taking on the role as the chief executive of the Melbourne Football Club?
I think every time you step into a CEO role, it's a different challenge, and I've ran multinationals and divisions for Asia Pacific. I've ran small companies as well. This is probably the most exciting challenge I've had, to be running the oldest football club in the world, the oldest sporting club in the world, in the best sporting competition in the world. It's really exciting.
Why did you want to do it?
A number of reasons. I've been a football fan my whole life. Sport's in my blood, in my veins. I wasn't good enough to play it, so I've been around footy through sponsorships and actually worked for the AFL out at Waverley Park way back when. So when the opportunity arose, it was too good to turn down.
I understand you're an Essendon supporter. I've been looking for a reason or a really good excuse to give them up and jump on another team, and I haven't had one as yet, but being the chief executive of a different team is a pretty good one.
Come and join me. Come and join me. It feels good, Corbin. 25 years of pain as an Essendon supporter. I'm with the D's, and we're going to be okay.
Surely it's about to turn. That's what I keep telling myself every year. The process that you've got coming up is clearly trying to find a new senior coach. And you're obviously coming in as the chief executive. You're part of that panel to appoint the next senior coach. Is it a boat race? Is it already predetermined that you know who your guy is and the process is just some kind of window dressing?
I'll answer that by saying the panel that we put together is first class. And having Joe Watson and Frank Panisi on that panel means that they are there to select the best coach. And when I spoke to Joe about it, he was pretty clear. If you've already got somebody in mind, I don't need to be part of it, but if you're truly open, I'd love to be part of it. So Frank was the same conversation, and then me and O'Callaghan was the same as well. So we're really clear that we're open to a point. We want the right coach that's the right fit for our football club. We want the right level of experience in there, and that means you've either been an experienced assistant coach or have already been an AFL coach as well. So I think it'll come somewhere out of that group. The rest is the game style and the fit that's going to be in our football club. But I'm excited about the conversations that have occurred. I know we'll make the appointment probably in the lead up to preliminary final week as well, which then puts us in the right position to be part of the trade conversations and then the draft conversations from there.
Are you worried about what a prospective candidate might find when they do some extra digging and research to see how the club is at the moment and the state of things?
Oh, we're in good shape. So I'm very confident that our club is in good shape. We look at the board, there's been stability there. I think Brad Green as president's done an amazing job. You think about the decisions that a board would make. It's appoint a new CEO, well, they've done that. Move a coach on, well, they've done that. And then they're about to make an appointment of a new coach. You can't do that unless you have alignment in the boardroom. Simon Goodwin is an outstanding individual. I think he's an outstanding coach. He'll always be a legend of a football club. But the view was we need a coach for the next decade. So for the board to make that decision shows you how aligned they are. And then when I look at the whole admin side, I think David Chippendale's done a wonderful job at holding the whole club together across the journey. So we're in really good shape, and I'm excited to be coming in.
Your own status? Have you started officially as the chief executive of the club?
Not officially. I've spent a lot of time in and out of the football club over the past couple of months. This week I've spent more time in it as well, and I'll do the same for next week and then officially start on the 8th of September. But you can't help but not be involved in football clubs. After I had the appointment, it's just an exciting place to be, and I can't wait to start.
Is it true you wanted to start earlier?
Yeah, and it was a conversation I had with the Victorian Chamber. I had a 6-month resignation clause. We've got a big congress coming up in September. the board's view was they wanted to keep me till then. That's contractual arrangements. I would have loved to have come in earlier, but that wasn't to be.
One phrase I use all the time, our listeners are probably bored of me saying it, is the perfect is the enemy of the good. And I talk about it all the time. We talk about the score review. I say, look, it's not perfect, but it's better than having nothing, and so many other things in the game. When I look at a facility like Waverley, I would say the perfect is the enemy of the good. So it might not necessarily be perfect, but it's a better option than perhaps what the Demons have at the moment, and you can have everyone under one roof. Have you spoken to the AFL about saying, hey, you know what, until we find the perfect solution, why don't we stay there in the short term?
Hawthorn won 4 out of there, I think, so it's not too bad. Look, we've got a great facility out at Casey. We've got an ongoing arrangement with Casey for another 15 years. The board's made it really clear that we want a home for our football club, and they've made that home destination Caulfield. It's right in our heartland. Conversations there are going really well, and that's the focus of the board right now.
So you wouldn't go somewhere on a short-term basis?
I think what we're looking at is let's land Caulfield, right? And then after we've landed Caulfield, and the board's quite rightly chasing that down, we'll consider other options out of that. We're not short of options. Casey's a good option. We've made Gosh's paddock work for us as well, and of course the admin here as well. But ultimately, we want to bring the football club together, and that football club will come together at Caulfield.
So you haven't spoken to the AFL at all about Waverley?
No. There's no need to now. Our focus is purely on getting Caulfield across the line.
How much longer is Brad Green going to be in the position as the president?
I think Brad's made it clear since he took over late last year that he will do this and hand over at the end of this year. It's a matter for the board, but ultimately the conversation around Steve Smith is there, and I think that'll happen sometime after the AFL season, and either on or before the AGM as well. That's what I understood when I took the role, and there has been no deviation from that at any point in time since I've taken the role.
People in and around the footy club tell us that Mark Williams is like this glue guy around the club. He's 66 years of age, but he's been the head of development. He's been such an important part of this Melbourne team during a successful era. Given you've got the chief executive change and you've got no senior coach, the president's about to leave, who's making the decision to decide that you don't want Mark Williams there anymore?
Well, we've got Alan Richardson, who's GM of football, so Alan's making a lot of the decisions, as he should be, supported by David Chippendale. Clearly, the board has been included in those through Brad, and I've been included in those as well. The decision around Mark, there aren't too many better football people than Mark Williams. He brings a vibrancy, he brings an excitement, and he brings great experience. But we've got an emerging crop of youngsters that we want to accelerate their development, and we need to go in a different direction with our that level of performance and development side. I'll be talking to Mark over the next couple of weeks to see if there's another role we can find for Mark Williams in our football club. He's too good a person to see just walk out of the club. His role needed to change. He understood that. His contract came up at the end of this year. But let's see what we might be able to do with Mark Williams at Melbourne.
Do you see Christian Petrarca running out round 1 2026 in a Melbourne jumper?
I hope so. All of those conversations, there'll be no speculation around what we're going to do in the draft or the trade until the new coach starts. We've given ourselves every opportunity to set the club up for the next decade. New coach is going to come in with a different style, a different game plan. We then need to map our list to that game plan and work out what players we need to target to bring in, and perhaps what players might need to look for new homes.
Paul, really appreciate your time as always. Good luck in the role ahead as Chief Executive of the Melbourne Football Club.
Thanks, Corbin. Appreciate it.
Paul Guerra there, the Chief Executive of the Melbourne Footy Club, a short time ago with us here on ABC Sport. Interesting chat, an interesting stage for the footy club. So, interestingly that he quoted Joe Watson as part of that, basically saying, look, he wouldn't have been part of the process if he didn't feel like it was an open and fair process. He essentially said that at the start. So, as much as it's sort of been dressed up a little bit in certain media sections that it's Buckley's job to lose, if you take him on face value there, they will go through the proper process to try and find out who the best man for the job is.
And they should.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
Not just to work out if there's a better person, a better option, and you obviously want to appoint the best person, but you almost want to pinch IP along the journey.
Yes.
Get some quality assistant coaches in at really good football clubs and understand what they do a little bit and use that to your advantage. It's just a competitive advantage you can possibly get. You got to do it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time thing is
No.
that's happened. You grab hold of ideas and that sort of stuff, and you never know someone who may well be applying for the job that's probably may have had enough time at the other club and go, you know what, if the opportunity arises, I could be a deputy or assistant.
I think there's a parallel between the two clubs that are playing tonight. Remember when Craig McRae came in and took over from Nathan Buckley?
Yep.
We all thought the Collingwood list was shot, that they had overindulged with their salary cap, and that they were going to have to go through a rebuild. They brought in Craig McRae and they spiked quickly. So maybe it is a Hayden Skipworth.
All right, the Magpies are making their way out onto the Melbourne Cricket Ground. The full preview with Mick and Lingy coming up next.
The summer of cricket has arrived early.
Clubs it straight down the ground for 6. He's on the pull shot. Boy, did he get that.
White ball cricket takes centre stage in the top end as Australia take on South Africa.
Shout for leg for 4. Finger goes up.
And it's on now on the ABC Listen.
Down the pitch, there we go. Bang.
Every ball live. Just click on the cricket button.
ABC iView. Lose yourself in gripping entertainment.
Somebody here.
Like with The Family Next Door.
Knows something.
Darby and Joan.
I'm going to find out who did this to you.
And Bay of Fires.
What the...
Always free, always gripping. ABC iView.
ABC Sport.
On ABC Sport. You're listening to the 2025 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. Don't get better than this.
Footy's biggest weekly stage, Friday night footy.
Pulls the trigger on goal and goes back. Lightning stuff. Unbelievable. Oh, he makes the impossible look easy.
Snaps across the body and the party continues.
In front of Elliott! Jamie Elliott! He launched into the night sky.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport, on radio, on digital, and on the ABC Listen app.
You take a seat, cause it don't get better than this.
The end of the line for the Melbourne Football Club tonight. Their season comes to a close, one in which they parted way with their only living premiership coach in Simon Goodwin in the season that has been. Meanwhile, for the Collingwood Football Club, they're hoping for a much improved performance. They got it going last week against the Crows, but ultimately walked away with another L. It was their 5th loss in their last 6 games. Camden Magpies put it together on the eve of September, about to start what will be their 6th finals campaign in the last 8 seasons. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron to call the footy. Tim Hodges on the boundary. The legendary cat Cameron Ling. The coaching icon Mick Moldhouse. There's no late change. Jeremy Howe came back in at selection. Roan Steele likewise. The latter going to start as the sub, while Harry Sharp is the sub again for the Demons. What's your opening gambit here, Mick? What are we on the lookout for tonight? Obviously, one last look at the D's, and for the Magpies, it's our last look at them before the new season begins.
Yeah, well, Melbourne are chasing a new coach, as we know, so the players will want to impress for a start off. They know they were close several weeks ago, went down by a point. The thing about Collingwood is this: we've turned the corner. Well, I'm not sure. You can go in, if you go inside your front half 71 times when you're in good form, you're kicking probably a score of about 35 scores, so 18 or 19 goals. When you go in and only kick 9 goals or whatever it was, I know it was a bit damp. So structurally, you're floundering. 2 is you've dominated that inside 50, and you dominated the first quarter. I think there were 5 goals to 1 or 5 goals to 2, and still only kicked 4 or 5 goals. To me, the worry is still there, and I'm going through their list and thinking, when I analyse, it's the same players. The inside 50s, Dacos leads by so many, 133, Chris is 84. Tackles, Ned Long, 153, Jack, you're still side with him, and that's the stuff at 100. Nick Dacos, clearances, 141, Darcy Cameron. It seems to be too reliant on too few, and that to me is a real worry. 1 in every
3 scores goes through Nick Dacos.
It's incredible. And if he gets tagged tonight, like they tagged him a couple of weeks, 5 or 6 weeks ago, if that is repeated, what are Collingwood going to do about it, 1? And 2 is it has the same effect, who becomes the next pivotal player?
Ahead of Cameron Ling, Jordan Roughhead was with our own Ben Cameron a short time ago, and Ben started by asking him how they rediscover their best footy.
No, we're going well. I think last week you travel over to Adelaide, you play the league leaders, a team that's sitting on top of the ladder on their home deck, and really challenge them in a lot of areas of the game. We take a lot of comfort and confidence out of that. For much of the game, our system looked like it was sharp again, which it hadn't been the 2 weeks prior to that. So while we've dropped a few games, we've been playing some contenders, and hopefully our focus is certainly to be maintaining our processes and making sure we're looking at just getting better every day. And hopefully that is the case, and hopefully tonight you'll see some of that.
I think speed kills in the modern AFL game, and one of the questions about the Pies recently has been a lack of speed. We know that Bobby Hill's obviously not there at the moment. He's a key part of that. How do you get that back?
Well, personnel certainly helps. I mean, Bo McCreary comes back into the team last week, and you see some improvement off that. I don't think we're short of too much speed, particularly around that forward line. You look at a guy like Lachie Schultz, got mobile keys who have a fair bit of speed and can join in the offensive and the defensive phases of the game. So it's not an area that I think we're overly troubled. We have just been looking at how do we connect better inside 50 and how do we give those guys better opportunities, because that's clearly been something that we need to do.
What do you hear there, Cameron Ling, from the assistant coach, Jordan Roughhead?
I hear an assistant coach doing what an assistant coach should do, and that is talk his team up, back up the coach's messages, and a nice straight bat, which we could probably do with right now in the cricket. Beautifully played. When I, just to back up your point more so, Mick, when I look at the highlights of the Collingwood from last week and look at those 71 inside 50s, there's not too often I see what we saw in the first half of the year, which was a forward with genuine separation, on a lead, hit, bang, perfect, like nice. Jamie Elliott in that superb form. Or if it's not Elliott, maybe they do use a McCreary, or Myercheck's broken free and got a nice little lead. There's none of that. It's often the quick kick dumped, and it's either a contest or it was an intercept mark by Adelaide last week. Therefore, the inside 50s weren't really that scary.
I'm going to hang it on you right now, Lingy. This is going to be a really interesting answer. Do you reckon that as the year's gone on, the dependency on Nick Dacos has meant that he's now chasing a lot more footballs around the back, to the left-hand side, and is now being forced to actually dump it as opposed to kick it? Do you really reckon that now?
No, I strongly believe that, and I've seen it so many times in the past. It's a subtle thing, but if it's not pulled up quickly, the very best players who all of a sudden their standard becomes 8 disposals a quarter, so 32 disposals for a game. And if they're not quite getting it, they go searching for it, and they're smart enough and they're good enough and they demand it and they get it. In my time, it was when one of the greatest ever, Gary Ablett Jr., would drift into the slightly bad habits and run boundary side round the back just to get away, and all it is then a quick dump kick up and over. Yep. We would quickly just pull him up and say, Gaz, don't run for those. Run to the next contest and win it at the next contest down the ground.
Strong enough leadership to do that.
Correct. But when we see an opportunity to give you the ball when you're in good position, no matter what, we will give it to you. Trust us on that, and then you can break them out of that bad habit of the little round the back boundary side dump.
That's what we're going to be very careful about that happens tonight. Look, I've got to say, I went to Hobart last week and I watched a 54 possession get. I never had him best on the ground, because I reckon there were so many cheap ones. By the end of it, it was get, give and go, and little hand. And did North Melbourne benefit from it? Not a lot of it. So it gets down to, are we seeing Nick Dacos being subjected to, if he doesn't play well, we don't win?
In a word, would you tag him tonight if you Troy Chaplin?
3 times over.
Oh, absolutely I would, but I personally don't think it's going to matter. Collingwood will torch them tonight.
Oh, okay. Let's see if we get the best of the Pies. One man will be hoping for that is in the front row of the grandstand. He is the best boundary rider in the game. His name is Tim Hodges. Good evening, Hodgie.
I tell you what, Corbin, Mick said it didn't rain much in Adelaide last week. I spent $30 on ponchos, so it rained plenty in the second half. Max Gawn won the toss up against Tim Membry in game 200. So Max Gawn and the Demons will kick to the city end. That's the right of screen if you're at home watching on the telly, listening to us. The weather is a bit talking point. It's 16 degrees, so it's actually perfect conditions, but we had a heap of rain about an hour ago. Thankfully, there's no more on the forecast, but the ground is slippery and it will impact skills early. The crowd is going to be a big one, and the early start, it's a 7:10 start, remember. I think that's caught plenty out. The MCC expecting to hit 68,000 people tonight. They're well short of that at the moment. I will say it's chaos outside with the NRL sold out next door. It's a real carnival atmosphere out there. There's people and there's colours everywhere. Just repeating, no late changes. The subs for the Pies, it's Steele. For the Demons, it's Sharp. Plenty at stake. Lots of very nervous Magpie fans around where I'm sitting tonight.
Thank you for that, Hodgie. Great job down there. Benny, I just took it as fighting words when Corb said that Hodgie's the best boundary rider in the business and gave me a look as though I don't fulfil that role at certain times through the season.
I felt the same.
Wow.
I'm not down there on Thursday night, Score.
It's a hard-earned title, but one may have been dubbed to himself, but I'm happy to back Tim Hodges in that role. He does a fine job for us. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Pies win. They're top 4 bound. They lose, and they could be as low as 8th. Away we go on ABC Sport.
Cameron wins the tap down, follows up at ground level. Viney goes in, wins it there for the D's. Knocks it out. Hacked forward by Pendlebury. The D's win it back through McVie. Gets rid of it to Langford to Viney. On the logo, backtracks to Bowie. Chips it forward to Pickett. Just forward of the wing. Marks in front of the members. He'll kick infield. Dangerously into the corridor. Nearly chopped off by Pendlebury. Knocks it down to McVie. Kicks to full forward. Getting back Cameron. Marks at fullback defensively for the Pies.
Just looking where Maxi Gawn is, because he would be livid to think that his opposition ruckman could outmark it.
Cameron moves it on to Josh Dacos, kicks into the middle of the ground for his little brother. Off to Pendlebury. Tumble punt inside 50 for the Pies. Over the back of May. Onto it Elliott. Soccering it away McDonald. The Pies arrive. So too the D's, and they work it out. Turner away to Salem. Back to Turner. Back pocket. Rushes a kick.
Looking for Viney. It was an awkward kick broken up by Maynard. Langford wins it for the D's. Hand pass. De Goey almost had it. Viney knocks it to the advantage of Chandler, and the D's off half back. Gives it to Salem to Pickett. An ugly looking kick. Trickles away to Howe. He gives it to side bottom. Kick smothered by Salem. Another turnover. Melbourne back the other way. Viney to Salem. Short kick in front of the benches, and Van Rooyen slips but marks in front of the benches.
Collingwood have got that many back behind the line. It's unbelievable.
Daring kick into the corridor. Pendlebury does well to break it up without giving away the free. Gawn wins it though. Hand pass to Rivers. Handball to McVie. Kicks laterally. Turnover. Lipinski with the intercept mark. Logo southern wing just pulls the kick into the path of Membry in his 200th game. Across 3 different clubs to get there. Lion's share of those games, of course, with the Saints after starting with the Swans and now finishing with the Pies, and that's a good kick to the youngest Magpie out there, and Ned Long marks at centre-half forward.
Yeah, poor defence by Melbourne. They all drifted back. They got sucked back thinking that that kick was going to go maybe 15 metres out to the goal line. Forgot that there's a corridor. But also their forward line, Melbourne, has really collapsed on itself. A couple of times they've had opportunity to go forward. Look up, there's 3 Collingwood players there.
Oh, he's going to pass it inside the forward 50. Decided just to dab it out to Josh Dacos, who kicks hurriedly and misses out to the right.
I think he might be right, Liggy. They're off by a mile, Melbourne, at the moment.
And even we've seen twice from this side Melbourne look to take the corridor option.
Yeah.
But both times, I mean, one was a turnover, the other one was within
close enough,
an inch of a turnover. I wouldn't want to keep trying to bite those off too much.
Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Bowie to May. May kicks out wide towards the worn wing. Up goes Cully off his fingertips. Out of bounds on the full.
No, it's for in the marking contest.
Oh, it'll go to Cully. Umpire pointed the wrong way.
Yeah, what he thought he did, he tunneled him. I really didn't see that.
Cully retreats with the kick. Back to Salem. Worn wing side of the ground. Shorts it to Bowie. Just gets it there. Defensive point of the square here for the D's in their lighter blue jumper with the red V, the white shorts.
Oh, he's in trouble here if they hunt him.
Plays on, a little bereft. Now he kicks out wide towards the wing. It'll work out. Bouncing ball for Rivers. Gathers on the bounce. Now looks forward for the D's. Kicks towards Cully again. Turnover. Josh Dacos able to mark just backward of the logo for the Pies.
They are so desperate to use the corridor, Melbourne, as a change in their game plan. I don't think they've got the skills to be able to do it.
Long kick to half forward. May should have broken it up. Went the spoil. Down towards Viney. His hand pass swatted away by Perryman. Collingwood back with it. Elliott. Hand pass out in front of Lipinski. Buffeted off it by Rivers. Diesel win it back. Viney scoops it up. Hand pass to Rivers. There's nowhere to go. Closed down by Lipinski. Hurried kick away to Bowie.
It's just been played totally in Melbourne's back half. And with this little bit of water on the ball, it's It's not clean, and if you're not clean yourself, you're in real trouble.
Pies second best in the competition for time in front half. Short kick to Turner, long kick up to the wing. Gawn knocks it down. Spills out in front of Melksham, whacks it inboard but turns it over. Long hand pass to Josh Dacos. Kicks inside 50 again. May couldn't quite trap it. Spills front and centre to Schultz. Gets boot the ball and kicks the opener. Oh, the Pies look red hot out of the gates. 1-1 to yet to score. We're less than 5 minutes in. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, Corbs, Collingwood do look sharp, but Melbourne are helping them. Melbourne are definitely assisting them look sharp. And the trouble is, Mick, it looks like Melbourne have completely shifted in game plan with the way they want to use the ball. And you can't just do that in 2 weeks, just like that. Just
in the swap of the coach.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to train things over a period of time. You bed it down. That's why the off-season, pre-seasons and early in-season is so important to bed all that down. To just all of a sudden say, hey, start using the corridor lots, they're going to pick him off all night, which is going to be ugly.
Really interesting too, Lingy, because for the best part of 3 years we've criticised Simon Goodwin that they don't take more risks and how slow they are and how they go inside 50. Maybe he was working with what he has and they don't have the skills to do that.
Yeah, but
you've got to train it, though.
That's right, train it over time and review it and then train it again, and then you can't just switch it on in 2 weeks.
Cameron taps it down towards Nick Dacos. 1-2 with Pendlebury, master and apprentice. Dacos kicks long inside 50, Elliott. Hands to it, doesn't take the mark. Salem Robes inside defensive 50 for the D's. A little fumble for May, allows in the Pies. They extract it, but Cully goes in, wins it back, turns it over. Pendlebury for the Pies again, back to Maynard. He'll kick long to full forward. Meyer checks in good position, shepherds it through. Maynard from range. Hot Pies early on a Friday night at the MCG. 2-1-13 plays no score, 6 minutes in. Mick Malthouse, the coaching games record holder, and the triple premiership cat Cameron Ling.
5-1 inside 50, says it all. Melbourne are trying to play cute football. Jim, our weather expert, has already said it's a little bit dewy on the ground or a bit wet on the ground, so if you're unsure of yourself, then you've got to get the ball inside your front 50, but also you've got to hold a forward line that's going to be able to contest. At the moment, Melbourne are just giving the ball straight back, making unbelievable. Well, Lingy, you said it, though, just making. They've almost like they're having their Monday now on a Friday. So it could get ugly. If they need a steadier, just to say, because Collingwood, they're playing okay. They're not playing dynamic football.
Fumbly and look off the Demons in the opening 5 or 6 minutes here. Collingwood with the first two.
And you want to up-tempo your ball use, but you don't have to be silly with your decisions.
Free kick for Gawn in the ruck infringement. Hands it to Salem. Kicks the Magpies inside 50. It's barely been down there, and Petty takes the juggled mark. 35 out straight in front. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
A lot of talk about Daniel McStay's place in this Magpie team across the week. He's on for his first run of the night, and that left knee heavily strapped. He was trying to actually stretch it before he ran on the ground. They've put some new strapping on it before the start of this game, and it's a heavily strapped knee.
Goalless in 4 of his last 6 games.
Gee, that's a good mark he just took. We saw the replay. He used his body beautifully then, Petty.
Here's Petty, who kicked 2 himself last week. Stuttering approach, but the drop punt, he's straight enough. And the D's are in business. 1 against the trend through the opening 8 minutes. So 2-1 Collingwood, Melbourne 1 straight. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. We'll take you to the concluding stages in a little while of Port Adelaide and Gold Coast. So we'll take you there for, in fact, most of the second half, not just the concluding stages. If you want to hear both games in full, the ABC Listen app is the place to do that.
So that's a bit of an example of the difference, what I mean with ball use. So it's still quick and aggressive, getting it in there, but it's not trying to be too cute and pick up this perfect kick and then 5 different handballs and another perfect kick. Saw an opportunity, get it in nice and deep to your forward line, and maybe you get a mark. Even if Petty doesn't quite mark it, maybe you got a crummer and you kick a goal.
And it also coming back because of play on too. It's interesting about ruckwork though. Max Gawn was running back to the goal square at the other end because he thought it was against him. Yeah. Then he looked and the umpire was giving it to him. So it just shows the confusion with ruckwork.
Collingwood the first 2, Melbourne the last. Back in the middle, Gawn parries it down, soccering it forward. Pendlebury up towards half forward for the Pies. Back there the D's though, they work it out Through Cully, who gets it away to Petrarca. Now to Oliver on the wing. Flicks a handball over his shoulder. Bouncing ball. Pendlebury arrives, plays for the high tackle.
Oh, he played for it, didn't he?
And he gets the free kick.
Went under all right.
Scott Pendlebury, who's signed on for next year and leaves our man Boomer Harvey as the game's record holder for now.
I'll tell you who looks very heavy is Petrarca. Really heavy, and
short kick out wide to Maynard. The jeers from the Melbourne fans and then the cheers of the Collingwood fans as he kicks up to half forward and Gawn marks. Collingwood by 7, 9 minutes in.
Tato Jordan De Goey just slinking onto the ground in all of that as well. So he's out there for his 4th consecutive game, yet to win one since his return. The short kick finds Salem. Still got 14 premiership players out there, the Demons, today. Compare that to Collingwood, who won a flag 2 years later. They've got 16. As Oliver heads down to half forward and Frampton takes the intercept mark. He's one of those for the Magpies. Across the ground to De Goey. His first involvement, swings a kick from centre half back out to right half back and finds Dan Houston.
I can tell you, Tom Sparrow, not sure about how he plays the wing roll there. Did you see him just collapse in there?
Did he ever?
When he just left Houston, who'd kept his width and was the obvious switch target. That's somebody who's played a lot of inside mid as opposed to playing the wing role.
Short kicking game to Quaynor and then to Josh Dacos. Heads to half forward. Again made not clean. Can't take the mark. Broken up. Magpies win it. Schultz to McStay. Handball away to McCreary. Hand pass inside to De Goey, who keeps on moving. Kicks to the behind line and a good spoil. Finding the safety of the boundary line in all of that is young Langford. Punches it away in a throw-in forward pocket for Collingwood.
Yeah, it was a terrific spoil.
Really good spoil. Did you pick me up on that thing when I said about Petrarca? He looks heavy, looks really heavy, and just couldn't make up that ground before.
Gawn slaps it down. Salem, back pocket for the D's. Off to Oliver, to Viney. Slapped away by Crisp. Dangerous inside 50. Onto the boot. Just missing. Would have been brilliant from Crisp. When the Pies' pressure is up, they usually win this year. When it's down, they've certainly lost. Some of the numbers around that supporting it. 13-3 when they've won the pressure rating. 2-4 when they lose that pressure rating.
As May goes on a little stroll and then heads wide to Langford, who did the tremendous spoil moments ago and now takes a one-on-one hang.
Yeah, you see what you're talking about, Liggy. They're setting up lateral to nearly every kicker and virtually demanding the ball to get a play on.
Langford, the only teenager on the ground. He goes long down the wing, spills to Gawn, got it away towards Petty, then to Melksham, hand pass to Petrarca, swings it inside to Oliver. Langford's involved again, sequence of handballs to Viney and now off to McVie, takes some ground, kicks into the pocket, Fritsch in the sleeves out after it. Runs out of room and a boundary throw in forward pocket for the Demons.
And Collingwood have got to be a bit more onto it. So then that run through the middle was loaded up with 4 Melbourne players, all running corridor as a pack. Collingwood have got to realise this isn't the Melbourne of when they last played, which wouldn't have taken those corridor options.
Fritsch should have been leading earlier though, Lingy just said, because he would have walked onto that mark.
Collingwood by 8, they clear their defensive 50. Long a little fumble, sees it out on the worn wing, throwing coming.
He really left his lead. He's just watching his player. The player's a right foot. He's obviously going to kick the ball wider to the left. Fritsch held his ground for far too long. That ball hits him in the chest if he had been smarter.
It'd be interesting to see what the new coach does with Fritsch, whether he still wants him or he can get value for him.
Grew up a Pies fan, ironically. Bailey Fritsch as the D's win at high half forward. Viney away to Sparrow. Now Petrarca gets a handball away to Chandler, who moves it on to Langdon. 45 out, kick smothered by Howe. Ricochets away, Petrarca gathers again, pokes a kick inside 50. Knocked down by Nick Dacos. The Pies rebound. Cameron rushes a kick forward. McCreary running onto it. Turner gets there first for the D's. On the half-back line, away to Salem, who kicks laterally. Collingwood by 8.
What would you do, Lingy, with Bailey Fritsch?
Oh, no, you know my opinion of that very, very clearly. I think, Corbs, I would be trading him. Without question.
See what you can get?
Yep. And if I don't get anything, that's all right.
He's out. How's at half-back? Long kick down to half-forward. Climb from the back. And an illegal one at that. A leap over the top from not just Van Rooyen, but also Melksham. So
I want to see Van Rooyen do something. Just show that he's just not a good-looking footballer.
Cameron gets the free for Collingwood and just dabs it short.
Be active. Get involved. too easy taken out of the game, Van Ruin.
Perryman, long down the line now. Turner goes up trying to spoil, close to the boundary line. Howes is out there, and I think they're all happy to see it out. It never got there. Schultz in the end wanting to keep it alive, and Viney walks it over the boundary. So throw in between wing and half forward for the Pies. No late change coming in. Collingwood 2-2. Melbourne 1 straight, 14 minutes into the opening term. Corba, middle mass, Ben Cameron, Cameron Ling, Nick Moldhouse, Tim Hodges, your call team. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Umpire flings it in. Ricochets off Van Rooyen towards the front. Petrarca getting involved now. Viney, neat little pick-up. Coughs it up with the handball, though. Allows in the Pies. Houston coming through Long as well. There's a free kick. Advantage to the Pies. Long takes the advantage. Kicks deep inside 50. Membry hands to it. Doesn't reel in the mark. Salem arrives. McCreery picks it up. Spins out of trouble. Dribbles the kick away. Retreating with the kick. Membry goes back to Lipinski. Half forward for the Pies. McCreery to Lipinski. Too classy. He misses. It's like the little triangle training handball drills for the Pies. Lipinski just couldn't convert from 45. They led it by 9. Quarter hour mark in the first.
It was that drill, Benny, you're right. And Turner and Howes from Melbourne, they forgot that there is such a thing as that drill because they just watched.
Oh, McDonald goes long down the pipe and Darcy Moore picks it off with the intercept mark almost right on halfway. Don't see that too often in the modern game, do we? Long and direct from the kick out.
No, not only that, the full back to market.
Yes. Here he is in the middle of the G. It wasn't his best effort. Moore as his kick misses Perryman. Gets there on the hop. Down at half forward. Kicks along the boundary line out on the full.
Oh, Mick, I don't love when you get a turnover right in the middle of the ground, forward of centre, and then you just go wide and slow. Because even if it had been a decent Darcy Moore kick, it's still super slow.
Collingwood by 9. May in the defensive arc.
Exactly.
Long kick across the half-back line just to Howes. Marks in front of McStay. Goes short and wide out to Sparrow. Still at left half-back. Collingwood by 9 points. 16.5 gone opening term.
Sparrow to McDonald, who wants to take the corridor. It might work out. Overshoots the target, but Langford's onto it. He kicks deep. There's 3 Ds there. Melksham to Pickett. He walks it in. Route 1 go the Ds. And they cut it back to 3 points. 2-3-15 plays 2 straight 12, 17 travelled opening term. Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Lingy, I've got to have another look at how you can have 3 players in behind the last Collingwood defender. I understand that the ball was on the half forward flank, half back flank for Melbourne, and I can understand what Melbourne are trying to do now is to take the ball through the corridor. What I can't understand is why your back line would be so disjointed.
They were set up purely sweating on the fact that those Collingwood mids
we're going to get it.
We're going to cut off that corridor ball use. Instead, went straight through the middle of them, and then there was just nothing.
No resistance to that.
Out the back.
Who kicked the ball into Pickett? Who was that?
That was Langford with the long kick.
Well, Langford.
He's having a good night.
He's having a really good night and smart because he could have easily taken the easy option then.
He's the only teenager out there. Harvey Langford, Rising Star nominated. Putting in a lovely outing so far. DeGoey, hand pass to Perryman, kicks down to half forward. He's Bowie, wins it at half back. Hand pass out in front of Langford. Clean pick up. Gives it to Bowie, back to Langford. He's everywhere at the moment. The lefty sends it down the wing. Bouncing footy, Chandler can't trap it. Neither can Crisp. Oliver picks up the loose ball for Melbourne. Kicks it forward to a one-on-one. Howe trying to hold out Melksham, and Melksham was hanging on. Free kick for Howe. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
No, just a nervous time for the moment for the Magpies with Daniel McStay. Darcy Cameron is on the bench. McStay up against Gawn out there at the moment.
Well, it's really dangerous because that's smart play by Melbourne if you can hold the secondary ruckman out there as long as you can.
Moore moves it out to Houston, who kicks out wide to McCreery. Warren wing side, shorts it to Membry, drops the mark. Has to go back and get it, manages to get it to McCreery. He coughs it up though, allows in Howes. Turner picks it up, swings it out towards Sparrow. He's under pressure, worried out of it momentarily by McCreery. Now arriving quickly is Membry again, close to the boundary line. And out of play for a throw-in, Warren wing side.
Timmy, can I just ask this question? Does it look like it's greasy on the ground? There's a lot of mistakes being made at ground level.
Yeah, it's wet, Mick. Like there's a layer of water on top of the ground. So I didn't think there was that much rain earlier, and it was now over an hour and 20 minutes ago when it really belted down, but it hasn't cleared one bit. So, yeah, that's why these skills are probably average.
Gawn taps it back corridor side. McCreary onto it for the Pies. Handball back to Pendlebury. He looks to feed it off to the runner Maynard. Attacking edge of the square. Into the pocket he heads. Looking for Elliott. Got him. Elliott marks a metre in from the boundary line. 30 out. A tight angle in the left forward pocket.
Yeah, they're forced to go wide with their entries, but at least there we're seeing a little bit of separation for Jamie Elliott. Worked well with Schultz there in that contest, but just a bit of movement, being able to hit up a lead or two rather than just relying on the long, high kick, which Melbourne defenders love.
5 to 8 inside 50s. Collingwood's favourite.
He knows this pocket well. His drop punt hits the inside half of the near goalpost. Minor score, 4th behind for the Pies there. 2-4 Melbourne, 2 straight. Collingwood by 4 points, time on in the first.
Tim from Mooney Ponds off the SMS wanted to know what the uniforms look like tonight for the two teams. I'll bring you up to date with those in a moment as May marks in the back pocket. Hand pass away to Bowie. High up and under down the wing, and here's Petty who takes the mark. Hand pass to Petrarca. String of handballs to Oliver. Now to Langford. Runs into trouble. Darcy Moore says, come here. Holding the ball.
That was just a blind hand pass, and they had forwards free. So you can overdo, I want to be a hand pass side. Totally overdo it.
Short kick to Nick Dacos, straight on the field and into the game. Collingwood home game, so they're all in black with the white stripes and the black shorts. Melbourne, the road team, in the white shorts and the royal blue jumper with the red V. Kick inside the forward arc for the Magpies. Spills off the pack to Goey. Tries to solo it up, Gaelic style. Spills to Howes. Hand pass to Rivers. Tackled immediately. Handball for Melbourne. Out towards Oliver. Tackled straight away by Myercheck. Ball came out and then held without it. Well, that's not the call that many were expecting. Free kick for Melbourne and Clayton Oliver at centre-half back.
Yeah, but it's there. I know.
Yeah,
don't get too frustrated. The ball spilt free straight away without prior opportunity, so that is play on. And then Myercheck just hadn't realised that the ball had spilled and just held him for that bit longer. It's one of those unlucky ones where the tackler has no idea the ball's not still in the player's arms.
I reckon Myercheck might have hurt his wrist doing that.
Yeah, he's
umpires Hosking, Williamson, Finlay and Toner in charge of this. Kick up to the wing. Petty through his hands out the back. There's a free kick in amongst all of that. It'll go to Collingwood and they'll take the advantage. Side bottom to Crisp. Kick to half forward for Schultz. Schultz walks back off the mark. Nothing he likes. Side bottom peels boundary side. He ignores that. So he looks further afield towards full forward. Sets it up. Gawn's back there. Squeezes it.
Do you remember a time when you'd fear Collingwood's speed of ball movement?
Yeah.
Even Schultz's decision there, he had runners or little short kicks he could have gone immediately to. Instead, it's just long and slow.
That was only just inside the field of players.
I don't know why he went for the chest mark. He actually made it worse by going to the chest mark.
Gawn passing to May just inside the boundary line. Long kick down the wing. Leaping up Petty, no mark spills Collingwood's way. Crisp hands it to DeGoey, kicks inside 50, just out of stretch of Elliott. Socked away by Howes, but brings McStay in. Couldn't trap it at full forward. May wins it at full back, hands it back away to his teammate, who fluffs his lines, and Blake Howes puts it out on the full.
Yeah, it's terrible play. That really is panic football. For a back line, to get a ball in the back line and just blind panic like that, you've really got to take responsibility. Either get ready to get hit, or get ready for just get that ball outside the back 50 and make them have to have 2 kicks to get it in.
Tim Zucchini, observer off the SMS, noted the 2 Darcys, Moore and Cameron, a Howe and a Howes, and a May and a Maynard, all involved tonight. And Schultz is trying to hook across the body here, but he misses to the near side, a behind.
He's not that observant. He missed that we also have 2 steals. Steele side bottom and Roan steal.
There we go. That's too much, our listeners.
McDonald with a long kick out towards the wing and a nice mark taken by Van Rooyen. Gives it off to Cully. He'll get it back.
He's had 3 possessions now, Van Rooyen. Nothing's come of any of them.
Back feeds it to Howes. He'll get a 4th here, Mick.
Well, that's a kick finally.
Goes long up towards half forward. Petty. With strong hands takes the mark. Still too far out to score, so he sends it deep. Steele side bottom is back there and marks virtually unopposed. Last line for the Pies, Collingwood by 5 points.
Langford had made good position there with Sidebottom pushing back to the goal square. He wanted that kick long and high on Sidebottom's head so he could run and jump at it.
Yeah. Just an ordinary kick.
Yeah.
Side bottom goes on a run, and then the long kick up to the wing. Darcy Cameron edges his direct opponent underneath the footy illegally.
He's a bit stiff, Cameron, then, because the pace of which Turner ran at it, then he wanted to pull up. And Cameron was right behind him, so he just put his hands on his back.
Gone. Bad kick.
Disco Turner kicks to Gawn, and as you said, Lingy, the kick wasn't there for him, and easy for Frampton to put him under the footy and take the intercept mark.
They'd worked it perfectly. Gawn had a pocket of space to lead into. He had a break on his opponent, just had to pop it in his path.
Short to Perryman, back pocket, long kick out to the wing. Boundary line, southern side. Houston marks. Wants to keep it moving. Long kick to half forward. Mychek locks up with McDonald. McDonald hanging on. Free kick for Brody Mychek. He'll get it at half forward. One of 5 guys in the game off contract for next season, which I always find stunning this stage of the year, where guys are playing the last game of the home and away season and unsure if they've got a job come February.
Mychek, low ball inside 50, McStay. Can't take the chest mark. McVie clears for the D's. High ball back towards Mychek. Van Rooyen crashes the pack, brings it to ground. Darcy Cameron over the footy. Can't pick it up. Mychek makes it his. Squeezes a kick into the pocket. Dropped there by Turner and knocked out of play. Throw in.
Just fair to say in Brody Mychek's case, there's no problem if he wants to play footy. Someone will have him next year. It's just about what the deal looks like. So.
Yeah, I reckon it's a number of years too.
Yeah.
He does keep reaching for that wrist, which you mentioned earlier as well, Mick, that he might have just injured or received a knock on.
He's a ripper, isn't he, Mychek? They need him going.
The boundary throwing. Nick Dacos sharks it. Got a hand pass away, looking to try and find Crisp. Intercepted. Oliver squeezed a kick out, bounced off Fritch's chest. Houston wins it, sells a dummy, shoots, misses. Behind from Houston.
They'll pay for this, Collingwood, if they don't start to... I know they haven't had as many possessions. Well, it's close enough, actually. It's 54, 53 now. Collingwood are getting a lot back, but they really have butchered a few opportunities.
Pies by 6, 90 seconds to go in the opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Bowie brings it in short to the pocket for McDonald, who shorts it in turn to Disco Turner.
They want to look... He just keeps looking corridor, but now he's going to go the long down the line, and it's a good defensive kick.
Sets it up towards Petty and Gawn. No one can mark. Out of player Trickles will get a throw in.
Just on that list, by the way, Ben. So Elliott and Mychek are the 2 holdouts. So there are offers on the table, but perhaps not ones that they're that impressed with at this particular stage. Both guys in their 30s. And then for Melbourne, it's a little bit more pressing. So McVie has had interest from the West. He's got a contract in front of him, hasn't signed it. And Melksham and Tom McDonald, the 2 that have had to wait for the Demons.
Gawn takes it out of the ruck, turns it over with the handball. Pendlebury away to Chris, pies it half forward. Schultz can't gather it. Salem goes in again, fights with Schultz. Eventually Langford flicks it out for the D's, and he'll earn a free kick as well.
Yeah, grabbed her in the legs, Ben.
The Lark medalist last year in the Carnival, Mick. Pick 6. So, certainly a highly touted player, and has looked the goods at AFL level as well. Kicks on his left to a contest. Gawn juggles it down, controls it. He'll have the kick on the wing for the D's.
Max Gawn heads down to half forward. Fritsch jumps in the hole in front of Maynard, takes the mark. So 30 seconds left in the term. Fritsch moves it into the forward pocket. Is there a mark down there? Not quite. Van Rooyen follows up, squeezes a kick out and hooks it through. That's a nice finish. And Van Rooyen ties the game. 28 minutes into this opening term. 3 straight plays, 2-6. And that is the ball game so far. The Magpies in accuracy, and as a result, the scores are level. Jacob Van Rooyen with his first of the day. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
You were right, Mick. You said that it might bite Collingwood. Now, I still don't believe it'll bite them for the whole game. But just as far as this quarter goes, they haven't taken their chances. 8 shots at goal to only 3, and scores are level. The one thing Melbourne are doing, they are winning contested ball. We know they're pretty good at that. They're plus 10 at the moment. But they're generating... They've only generated 8 inside 50s from that contested ball domination.
And both clubs have done 1,500 metres. In fact, Melbourne have done more, 1,570 metres. And so for those, it's the distance the ball travels virtually from goal line to goal line, not across the ground. So
at the moment, the best player on the ground for Melbourne certainly has been Langford. 230 metres gained with 9 disposals. He's taking it forward.
Gorm wins the tap down. Cameron soccers it forward for the Pies though. McCreary onto it quickly. Back to Cameron inside 50. Schultz sliding out. He marks 47 out. Slight angle to the right will kick after the siren.
It's not too early on in your senior coaching career, even though he's only a caretaker coach, to get really, really angry. And when there's so few seconds left on the clock, to have a mark conceded by a backman just really trailing up a forward.
That's all he was doing.
This is one of those moments.
Mick. Don't know how you did it for so long.
Well, that's why I'm grey and grumpy and got ulcers.
Inaccuracy for the Pies, the story of the first quarter, and still it will be that Schultz misses to the right. Collingwood 2-7. Melbourne 3 straight. The Pies will lead by a point at the opening change. The goal kickers Schultz and Maynard for Collingwood, while for Melbourne, Petty, Pickett and Van Rooyen at the first change.
So 9 scoring shots to 3, and yet we got a 1-point game at quarter time. The Magpies on top by 1 here. Other sport that's happening tonight, of course, the NRL. It is a juicy game between the Melbourne Storm and the Canterbury Bulldogs. That's happening across town tonight, so we'll keep you up to date with that. You can hear it, of course, through the ABC Listen app, but in the early fixture, it's the Panthers 16 who lead the Raiders 12. In the cricket, Lingy, 3 for 50, the Australians. Ooh. How many overs in are we there? That's 14th over.
Yeah, 14th over.
Target is 278. So 278 the target to win. The Aussies 3 for 50. They did lose a couple early with both Head and Marnus Labuschagne out cheaply, and then Mitch Marsh followed them back.
Green's 14 not out. He was dropped first ball, I think.
Yeah,
first or second ball.
We watched Labuschagne play his normal shot, stand in the wicket, waiting for the umpire to give it out, which has come directly off the bat to the keeper, and wonders why a zero's next to his name, no different than the night before.
Right. All 3 for 56 short stay for Marnus Labuschagne. If you want to hear that, you can find it through the ABC Listen app. Of course, just look for the white cricket ball button. This is the first of 2 games tonight, of course, in the AFL. The other match is being played in Adelaide. It's the farewell for Ken Hinkley and for Travis Boak, who plays his 387th and final game of footy tonight for Port Adelaide. So an emotion-charged night you'd expect from the Power. While the Gold Coast Suns, if they want to finish top 4, they need to tick both these boxes in their last 2 games. That starts at 8:10 local time. That's about half an hour from now. Call available as well through, you guessed it, the ABC Listen app. The thoughts of Mick and Lingy coming up next. Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Shocking evidence, jury drama. The Mushroom Case Daily podcast took you inside that trial, and now we're doing it again with the Croc Wrangler, Matt Wright. Search for the new podcast, The Case Of. It's on the ABC Listen app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Skills out in front of Melksham, whacks it inboard but turns it over. Long hand pass to Josh Dacos, kicks inside 50 again. May couldn't quite trap it, spills front and centre to Schultz, gets back the ball and kicks the opener. Oh, the Pies look red hot out of the gates.
Pendlebury for the Pies again, back to Maynard. He'll kick long to full forward. Meyer checks in good position, shepherds it through. Maynard from range. Hot Pies early on a Friday night at the MCG.
Free kick for Gawn in the ruck infringement. Hands it to Salem. Kicks the Magpies inside 50. It's barely been down there, and Petty takes the juggled mark. 35 out straight in front. Stuttering approach, but the drop punt is straight enough. And the D's are in business.
Sparrow to McDonald, who wants to take the corridor. It might work out. Overshoots the target, but Langford's onto it. He kicks deep. There's 3 Ds there. Melksham to Pickett. He walks it in. Route 1 go the Ds.
30 seconds left in the term. Fritsch moves it into the forward pocket. Is there a mark down there? Not quite. Van Rooyen follows up, squeezes the kick out and hooks it through. That's a nice finish. And Van Rooyen ties the game.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Sounds there from the opening term. Andy from Wodonga. Buckley's mad if he goes to Melbourne. He's got a good job. Or is Petrarca's camp? I'm not understand. He's saying... I'm not sure I understand the back end of that message, but that's the front half of it anyway. Andy, appreciate that. From Steve in Ballarat. Poor Harry Sharp, he's the sub again. Penny might know, is he leading that stat this year from Steve?
Yeah, 8 times. This year he's been the sub-R man from Ballarat. He's got beautiful parents as well.
There we go.
I met them once in the Geelong rooms, but they are beautiful people, and we mention that every time with Harry Sharp.
They talk highly of you too, Ben.
Every single time Harry Sharp plays, Ben mentions his one interaction he had for about 3 minutes with his folks in the rooms.
Well, it was particularly memorable because I said the one thing I knew about Harry Sharp, he's a great runner. He runs a sort of 5:36 2K time trial. And his dad said to me, yeah, that's great if you can go where the football is, which he isn't at the moment. Which stuck with me.
Tough judges.
Love that.
Great call, team. Chris here, just wondering if Ed Langdon has a role this evening. Is he following around Nick Dacos?
He's trying to a little bit, but Nick Dacos started half forward.
Yeah, that's what threw him. And he had to go back to half back, so he started on him half back. And I reckon Collingwood were testing the water to see whether he would actually go back with him.
And I don't mind. I give that win Melbourne with that.
Absolutely.
So I used to love it when I play on an opponent and they try a whole bunch of tricks, put him to here and put him to there and put him. This is great. Yeah. This is fantastic. You're keeping him away from where the ball is and where he can impact the game. Nick Dacos right now is walking straight into this centre bounce. That's exactly what I'd do and say to Nick, just beat him. Beat him. Be a better player. And you want Nick around the ball and pumping the ball inside forward 50 as often as he can.
It hasn't seemed as tight as the King's birthday one.
No.
I was just going to say there's 30 possessions different between Melbourne and Collingwood, and it's Melbourne's overuse has got them. If you divide your 8 inside your 120, Collingwood have gone in 14 times for 90.
Yeah.
There's a big discrepancy of how many times Collingwood handle the ball to get it inside their front 50. Melbourne have got to get rid of the wastage.
Collingwood by a point. This is Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Q2 underway. Back in the middle as Cameron palms it down, but straight to Langdon, who charges in off the square. Kicks inside 50, straight to Perryman. Rebounds out of the defensive arc. Kicks out in front of Lipinski, waiting for the kind bounce. Closed down by Sparrow. Spun around as he collects. Hand pass looking for Quaynor, who's got it at half-back, and Collingwood settle it down. Hands it off to Josh Dacos. Long kick in the Myercheck direction. He slips over and Turner takes the intercept mark.
That's a really good one-on-one against a player who is very good one-on-one. He did slip. I understand that Myercheck slipped. But to get that football like that was very good.
These go down the worn wing. Langdon, long kick towards Gawn in front. Petrarca can't rove it first time, does the second, coughs it up. Quaynor there for the Pies. And on half-back, gives it off to McCreary. He kicks out to the wing. Bouncing ball here for side bottom. Eventually it sits. Gathers the footy now. Tries to chisel a ball up to half forward. Through McStay it goes. And the D's have the numbers. Rivers gathers back flank, holding free kick. It'll come back and go to Nick Dacos.
Oh, please.
That's a 3 Brownlow trick.
Nick takes it, runs out to his right, kicks to full forward for Collingwood. Juggled effort, Membry, not quite. Spills down to McDonald, hand pass away to May. Kicks off a single step to half-back. Fritsch trying to get there, knocked away from him by Perryman. Winning at McCreary, hand pass away to Josh Dacos at half-forward. Kicks down to the 50 and he's Perryman. Right on the junction of the 50 and the boundary line.
I don't want to sound as if I'm picking on anyone, but Petrarca's efforts at the moment are lame. He's showing no interest in defence.
It's one effort, isn't it?
It's one, and when he's got the football, he's really worried about getting body contact. I'm just wondering how much impact that has had on his mind, not his body now.
Perryman doesn't shoot, tries to pass, broken up by Petrarca as he looks to kick it to Dacos. Ball spills back underneath Nick, and he's tackled again. And the outer-zone umpire comes in and says, ball up.
Throw it up. Just throw it up. That's the best way to get players moving. Don't wait for them. Throw it up.
Half forward for Collingwood, Pies by a point.
Up it goes now. Gawn slaps it down. Long gathers for the Pies. Handball goes through Pendlebury. Petrarca gathers, spins out of trouble. Off to Fritsch. D's down the members' wing. Oliver back to Fritsch. Nowhere to go. Goes back to Oliver. Loops it over the top to Fritsch. Did it well, the D's. Fritsch kicks up to half-forward. Maynard in front. Marks for the Pies. Back flank. Collingwood by a point, 2.5 minutes into the second.
I didn't think Cozzy had let him off the hook that early. Easy. So he made sure that when he took the mark.
Here's Maynard. Long kick to centre half forward for Collingwood. There's another whistle on the play. More intervention. It's a free kick Collingwood's way for a hold. They take the advantage. And a smooth moving Pendlebury kicks out to half forward. Got it in the direction of Lipinski, who spears it inside 50. And here's Myercheck hitting up and marking it left half forward.
I want to see what that free kick was for, because it just looked like a real one-on-one contest to me.
So just to go quickly over the Langdon-Dacos matchup. Langdon's starting at half forward for Melbourne. Dacos is starting in the middle of the ground, but then immediately Langdon's going to him.
Mychek, who's had some problems with his wrist already tonight. There's no problem with his kicking boots. He's got those on. Pops it through. And Collingwood's lead stretches out to 7. 3.5 gone second term. 3-7 to 3 straight. So make it 7 behind the Collingwood lead. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. The coaching icon Mick Moldhouse and the legendary cat in Cameron Ling.
That's more like the Collingwood ball movement, though, wasn't it, Mick? I haven't seen the replay yet of the free kick. Might have been questionable, but they took the advantage straight away. Got a bit of width on it and then immediately went inside 50 with not a long high kick, with an actual hit-up lead. Good, strong lead by Mychek into a bit of space. Collingwood, I don't think are that good. They don't have, let's talk at Charlie Curnow at his absolute peak, who can launch and take the big pack marks. They are better when they are moving and leading onto the footy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what they did this end. They got as you said, they got the ball moving. They're dominating the ball compared to what the first quarter when Melbourne held a lot of it.
Gawn slaps it forward. Pickett gathers for the D's. Goes back to Gawn. Left foot kick to half forward. Wrestle on Perryman. Outbodies Petrarca to mark. Back flank for Collingwood.
Yeah, outbodies Petrarca. How does Perryman outbody Petrarca?
Shorty's kick to Long, who goes laterally away to Maynard. Just backward of the wing here for those in black and white. Kicks up to half forward. Up goes Cameron. Marks it. Now he can give it off to Josh Dacos. Long kick inside the attacking 50. Membry hands to it. Doesn't mark. Ball hits the deck. Crispy's there. Tackled by Chandler. Taken to ground. And he's caught holding the ball.
That is a ripping tackle.
Crisp had momentum and is a strong guy. That is an outstanding tackle.
Chandler, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely ripping tackle.
It gives it to Oliver. Hand pass to Bowie running by, and he kicks laterally to Gawn. Gawn's going to stab it down the wing to his mate Petrarca. He's got it on the logo. This will be the inside 50 kick for Melbourne. Petrarca to full forward. In the pack is Van Rooyen. Slides through off hands and through for a behind. The other thing to note with that too, people are probably thinking, no prior opportunity. The umpires use the trigger that if you lift your arms to try and evade the tackle, that's your prior opportunity.
Yeah,
so that's gone, and that's holding the ball.
That's a season of us working with Ray Chamberlain. As Howe takes the kick in.
You've been brainwashed by him, Benny.
Short to Long. Breaks the defensive 50. Kicks out in front of Elliott. He marks in stride. That's more like it from Collingwood. Elliott halts the progress, though. High half forward. He now looks into the pocket. Trying to find Membry off the hands there of May. Skids out of play. Throw in right forward pocket for the Pies. They lead it by 6 points. 3-7 plays 3-1. 6 and change into the second.
Michael from Wyndham Vale, loving the call as always. Very nervous Collingwood supporter tonight. And I think for the last 2 seasons we've had quite a bit of problems with kicking in front of goal. Really hope we can straighten it up from Michael. Been inaccurate tonight. 3-7 to 3-1 from the boundary throwing. Corn just thumps it away like a volleyball spike. Worked out down to Bowie. Kicks to the wing. Malcolm breaks it up from the back down to Chandler, who's tackled high by Moore. Free kick for Chandler. Takes it by hand. Gives it to Oliver. The overlap run. Short kick. Down to half forward. Here's Melksham. Turns, plays on. Kicks to half forward. Van Rooyen tacks it right on the 50. Melbourne fans slow to join in. Perhaps heavily outnumbered tonight with the Roo chant. And pass away to Melksham. Long to full forward. Fritsch is down there. He takes a chest mark. Somehow in a pack of 4. Judged the fall of the footy. And there was no Collingwood player anywhere near him.
Was that Perryman?
Yeah.
I think on him. So either Perryman's got to hold his ground more, Mick, or it's just a push in the back. Which way do you see it?
Fritsch clears him out, kicks the goal. And Bailey Fritsch, with an unusual win there, almost in the goal square. And Melbourne had their 4th of the night. Tie game again. 7 gone in the second term, 4-1 to 3-7. Mick Moldhouse on ABC Sport.
Well, one, it was terrific play by Melbourne. Really educated to get the ball in there quickly. There were 2-on-2. I reckon Fritsch did have an opponent. It's how they just moved him out the way.
Yeah, you okay with that?
Yeah, I am.
He gets Perryman out of the way. Yeah, look,
it's arguably that I don't think it was in the back. I think it was more the side.
Here's a close-up for you. Oh, it's a bit in the back.
Oh, yeah, but there's not a... I'm not convinced that but it's too easy to be moved out the way. If you're a backline player, you've got to dig those heels in and make sure he does not get to the fall of the ball. You're a winner if you punch the ball clear.
Nick Dacos scrapping after it at ground level. Geordie De Goey goes in. He's enveloped.
And now all the matchups take place. Langdon comes from half forward, straight to Dacos.
Gawn down towards De Goey again. Tries to hack it out of the air. Gawn slaps it on. Long pinches it. Pies go forward. Handball overshoots McStay. He's having that kind of night. He tackles Turner though. Jars the ball free. De Goey goes in. Nowhere to go. Holding the ball.
Oh, there's one each there.
Wow.
That's bad. Look, they've given the right decision, but the should have been one beforehand to Collingwood. That was identical.
D's ball at centre half back as Viney moves it out towards McDonald. Off to Salem. Kicks to Langford. Scores level still.
Langford runs past the man on the mark. High bomb inside the forward 50. Where's Cozzy? Trying to edge Frampton out of the way. Got a touch on it. Spills to Houston. Hand pass to Maynard. Handball to Howe. Comes out of the defensive 50 for Collingwood. McStay's got to go it against Gawn, and Gawn punches it into the dugout. Boundary throwing on the wing.
Well done by McStay then, because Gawn was probably in the box seat to mark that footy, and that's that sort of what you said down the other end of the ground, Perryman v Fritsch. Sometimes you've just got to fight and really dig in just to halve the contest.
Absolutely do. And a backline player, you win if you punch that ball clear.
Thoughts of Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse. Gawn lays it down for Petrarca. Off to Oliver. Now Salem. Forward handball to Langdon. Running by Langford. He drops it. Has to go back to Langdon. Now it's a rush dump kick inside 50. Shallow entry. Up they go. Petty hands to it. Viney at the fall. He's tackled. Josh Dacos has him. Ball jars free. Oliver onto it. Centre half forward here for the D's. Off to Fritsch. Chips inside 50. Spoiled away by Howe, and the Pies through to Goey. Should gather, and a slick handball. Out to Josh Dacos.
Kick smothered. Well done, Salem, the 1%er, and then goes and gets it, and then has it picked. Nick Dacos wins it back. Was he clipped high? Umpire says yes. Free kick, Nick Dacos.
There's a panic hand pass. Was that Fritsch that give the panic hand pass? Or?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's... You've got a target in front of you, you've got a target at the back of you. The one in front of you can see, the one behind you can't see.
Nick looks corridor, looks to the height of Darcy Cameron, leaps up, has it picked in the air by Cully.
It's a tactic they've tried a couple of times now. Darcy Cameron in the middle of the ground.
Short kick away to Langford, dabs it down to half forward.
You know what? That's old-fashioned, that one, Mick.
That is. You're going to earn it.
Fritsch certainly does that with Howe over the top. Looks inside to Oliver. Hand pass away to McVee. Long kick into the forward pocket. And leaping early, Melksham couldn't complete the mark. Spills out of play. Forward pocket for the D's. Margin. There is no margin. It's 25 each. Scores level. 3-7 to 4-1. 11 minutes gone in the second term.
A very different looking scoreboard though, isn't it? 10 shots at goal to 5.
When I said margin and saw it was even, I thought, how am I going to get out of this one?
Cameron lays it down. Petty knocks it out here for the D's. Sparrow away to Melksham. Squeezes it through. There's a margin now. The D's are in front. They lead by that goal. 5-1-31 plays 3-7-25. 12 into the second. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Mick, what are we through the quarter now? We've 11 minutes 50 gone. We haven't had a lot of inside 50s. So it's 4-6, so 4 Collingwood, 6 to Melbourne.
So much play's been in front of us.
Yeah.
I've been quite enjoying this part because we can actually see what's happening.
We don't need the binoculars, do we?
Not at all. The far side, it's been a little bit, but when you say 10 inside 50s in, it's, as you said, it's 8 minutes of actual play. So I guess we've been a bit unkind to the thing, but a lot of it's been in front of us.
Yeah. It's look at even the kicking efficiency for the quarter. Both are going at over 80%. So
rare.
Yeah, really rare. It's a strange sort of quarter, but Melbourne are the ones making the most of it at the moment.
First time tonight, the D's with their nose in front. What can Collingwood do about it? De Goey clean out of the middle, gives it to Nick, kicks to full forward. They all run past it. McStay sockers it off the deck and misses.
He's had a good night.
There's a guy out of form, and Dan McStay should have had a certain goal running into an open goal from 12 metres out, kicked it off the deck and missed. 5-point lead for Melbourne, 13 gone second term.
McVie on the back flank, kicks infield, away to Sparrow. It's just so visible with McStay at the moment, isn't it? It's hard to miss. Sparrow kicks around the members' wing. Up they go. Frampton hands to it. Van Rooyen too claims the mark.
Oh, paid it. Frampton had a big chunk of that.
Van Rooyen gives it off to Viney. Chisels a kick around the boundary. Just good for Melksham. 70 out from goal for the D's. Very wide out left half forward. Goes into the pocket. Cameron gets back. Marks on his chest defensively for the Pies. Now we'll stab it short for Josh Dacos. Melbourne by 5 points. Nearly 14 minutes in the second term.
At a game high 34 the last time these teams went at it. Josh Dacos against the boundary line. Gee, it's a high up and under down the wing. Punched away by Turner, but in the opposite direction. Interesting choice. And Pendlebury should be first one there for Collingwood. Paddles it out in front of Schultz. He got a toe poke on it. Myercheck diving to trap it, couldn't. Still a chance. The Demons leaping at it in all of that. Collected in the process by Sparrow, but held up immediately. Ball up on the wing. Demons by 5, halfway through this second term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Umpire hurls it to the sky. Darcy Cameron taps it down. Rebounds back to him. High kick, straight up and down. Schultz can't get a hand on it. Perryman bursts through, off to Lipinski. Dabs a kick to Myercheck. Myercheck snaps on goal. Or Elliott, take your pick. The ladder marks alongside the goalpost. Wheels out and hooks it through. Collingwood swing the lead. His first of the night. And the Pies lead by the smallest of possible margins. 4:8:32 plays 5:1:31. Quarter hour mark in the second. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
You called it, Benny. That great attack on the footy at 50. Just was Perryman, I think it was. Just went hard at the ball, body lined the footy. It was a 50-50 ball that possibly goes the other way with Melbourne. And from there, it was wide open. And Stephen May just probably made a bad decision to leave Elliott at that stage.
Half and half.
Yeah.
What are you going by that? Nothing.
It's the old one. He probably thought maybe Myercheck's going to break into space and kick a goal on the run, but there was enough pressure on him. If you go early and make sure you influence. Otherwise, stay back that little bit.
Yep.
In the end, easy goal to Jamie Elliott. Well done, Pies.
Lead swung on the last 2 goals in the game. Collingwood back on top by 1. Cameron palms it down to the middle. De Goey, they didn't tackle him. Bounces off a would-be tackler. Runs out of the square. Kicks to Myercheck, who marks. Oh, it's nice to have Jordan De Goey back.
It's taken a little while, though, hasn't it, Corbs, to get the touch. Even tonight, he's been a little fumbly at times, but the last 2 centre bounces, it's been De Goey. That time he got out himself. The other one, he was able to release Nick Dacos.
Can Myercheck do the rest? The drop punt from outside 50 misses near side. Another behind for Collingwood, make it 4 goals and 9 to 5-1. Pies by 2 behinds. 16 and a half gone second term.
Thumping kick from Myercheck, as Mick likes to tell us. Those strong Tasmanian legs as May kicks straight up the middle towards a contest. Viney roves it. Kicks the D's forward to the wing. Fritsch marks. He looks to half forward, overshoots Melksham, who turns Maynard. Into the pocket he goes, picks it up, steps his man, snaps on the left, and getting back. Frampton diving save, Silvani-like.
Yeah, not clever, I don't reckon Melksham did.
Just the right foot for balance.
Well, that's all he need to do is really, and the way that Collingwood are bringing this ball out now, Melbourne have been caught so many plays in the middle of the ground, and they'll lose possession here.
Surprisingly, he's a right footer too, and yet for some reason wanted to arc back around on his left as Collingwood work it inside the centre corridor to De Goey. Kicks to centre half forward and long marks. Pies again taking the short way home.
De Goey charging past. Oh, could have used him.
He's still on here as he backs inside the forward 50, and Ned Long is taking an eternity to get rid of it. Crowded forward 50. Kicks into the pocket for Elliott. 2 Ds collide. Ball hits the deck. Slapped away. Lipinski first touch after that for Collingwood. Handball to Schultz. Handball to Houston, but they're retreating. Kicks laterally and Perryman marks.
It'll be a free kick to Melbourne here. Blocked in the marking contest.
It's going to go to Viney.
That's there.
He'll get it. And Cameron Ling all over it. Free kick centre half back for the D's.
Gives it off to smooth running Rivers, who just handballs it to no one. Josh Dacos picks it up, pies ball forward of centre again, waits a kick neatly for Pendlebury. He can give it off to Goey. This will bring the house down. Yes, Geordie! Collingwood lead by 7. He's backing at his best, and when he is, he's a difference maker. 5-9-39 plays 5-2-32. 18 and a half into the second. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that's perhaps Jordan De Goey just turning around to Ned Long and saying, hey, see what happens when you give me the handball and I'm running inside 50? That's what I'll do. It's strange the way Long chose to use the ball, and then Melbourne get the ball back and just some bad ball use. And then on this occasion, let's give it to De Goey bursting through 50. It's not a bad option.
And the ball use of Melbourne, as you said, unless you practice this sort of stuff week in, week out, training night by training night, to perfect it, you're going to give the ball back against a side. They're fighting for a position in the top 4. This is not last night's game of a little bit of pride. This is, we win this well enough, we are going to finish, well, we know we're going to finish at 4. So don't give the ball up.
Gawn palms it down back in the middle. As Viney tried to get a hand pass out, Nick Dacos just goes and hunts it. Got it out to De Goey. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Flares his kick to half forward. Houston should get there first. Needs a kind bounce, doesn't get one, and inadvertently soccers it out of play.
He's the other one, isn't he, Houston, who just
hasn't come on.
Yeah, hasn't quite jumped back to that All-Australian or All-Australian 44 level.
Where's he playing exactly? Because he just looks like he's either half forward or half back or wing.
That was wing then at that centre bounce.
Like he's wing.
Feels like the last 2 weeks they have tried to get him up the ground a bit more. Kicked a goal last week against Adelaide from the boundary throw-in. Oh, Langdon tackled out of play. Nick Dacos just returning a few of those receipts back to Ed Langdon for the close attention.
That's all over his neck. That is all over his neck.
They're in a scrap in front of the advertising boardings, and a free kick now is going Nick's way.
Oh, they should be, honestly, if he does not go for a fine on a
staging.
Oh, that is, Nick, you're beyond that. That is terrible.
The umpires bought what he sold. Free kick for Nick Dacos. Kicks into the pocket. Melbourne with the numbers up there, and in the end, Gawn trying to steal it from his own teammate. McDonald marks in the back pocket.
Oh, that's really disappointing.
Game's hot. We know the history between these two teams. A 7-point lead for Collingwood. As we get again a look at that tumble from Nick Dacos after Langdon was hanging onto his leg.
He did have someone flicking his leg up, Mick.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Believe it.
I'm not pulling your leg here, Mick, as Petrarca kicks inside 50. Van Rooyen can't take the mark. Quaynor's there. Loses it in the tackle. All at ground level for Maynard. Umpires coming in. No one knows why. Maynard bursts away with the footy and will come back.
Oh no, what's that for? That's not on Cozzy Pickett for his tackle that he just made on Quaynor, is it? Cozzy Pickett is a wonderful, caring human being the way he just tackled Quaynor there, because he could have killed him. And he
looked after him.
Yeah, and they've paid a free kick against him.
Collingwood by 7 points, 21 and a half minutes into the second.
Free kicks 12-9. Game's gone up a notch. Howe on the wing, kicks down the wing, and almost McStay and Turner colliding. Ball spits out the back. Somehow Nick Dacos got boot the ball to centre half forward, but the D's win it back. Turnover from Howe's cold. Back the other way, the Magpies. Elliott receives, shoots goalward, hits the post. Second time tonight, and he's hit the post. Jamie Elliott, an 8-point lead for Collingwood. Time on second term. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Just keeping an eye on Jeremy Howe. He had a lot of work with the physio earlier this term, and he elected then to come to the bench. I reckon he's got a soft tissue injury. I'll keep you updated, guys.
He's off the back flank. Thanks, Hodgie. Bowie kicks up for Petty, forward of the wing. Maynard goes up with him, halves it out of play.
I just saw the replay of that tackle. So if Quaynor had have wanted to, and if it was years gone by, he would have picked him up and absolutely crushed him. Instead,
I think it would have to Quaynor.
Yeah, to Quaynor. Instead, he realised he had him in, was heading into a vulnerable position and just backed off the tackle and brought him down. It should not have been a free kick.
This is where you've got to get those right, though, Ling.
Yeah.
You've got to get those right.
Just seeing Howe on the bench, and I read his lips Hodgie said, I heard or felt something pop as Petrarca turns it over, kicking inside 50. Tim Hodges.
Yeah, this is, I'm not sure whether it's just a policy, if there's any issues, they take him out, or whether he's actually done a hamstring. The sub has already been made, so the paperwork's been put through. So Steele is technically into this game, and now Howe is talking to the doctor and the physio on the sidelines. I reckon they might have jumped the gun on the actual paperwork, but something is wrong, and Howe was the one who called it, who came to the bench and knew he wasn't right. So this is a watch.
Lipinski into the centre square. Mark taken by Myercheck. Long kick to full forward. Mick stays up against Gawn. No mark, but wins it at the drop. Down to Membry. Hand pass to McCreary. Kicks backwards, but it turns out. And a sprawling mark for side bottom at right half forward.
Smart play.
That is a big developing story, Jeremy Howe. Remembering hamstring round 18, came back, lasted, 5 minutes? Or no, it wasn't even that. It was the opening passage of play where he was KO'd against the Hawks. Round 22, missed another week, back round 24. So really, since round 18, when he's done his hammy, he's played a quarter of footy.
And he also, didn't he have a groin at one stage later in the year as well? I've got a funny feeling there's something else.
His side bottom, the experienced vet to settle it down. The drop punt's good. And Collingwood with some breathing room. 6-10 to 5-2. The Magpies by 14 points. Trying to bring the scoreboard in line with the theme of the game on the stroke of half-time. Cameron Lang and Mick Malthouse on ABC Sport.
Well, as you said, smart ball use to Steele side bottom. And just as Steele's done in the latter part of his career, Mick has been able to hold that wing and hold his positioning really well. So where he takes that mark, he's in a position, yes, to draw the ball from a clever kick from McCreary, but he's also in a great position should Melbourne win the footy and they forced a dump kick. He would have won it back anyway. So doing exactly what you want him to do in that position on the ground. I suppose that's what 352 games does to you.
Yeah, and I'd say for a winger, he gets a lot of football in the back 10 yards or the kick-off zone, because he just works that hard on the non-entrance side. Very smart.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Players just resumed, so maybe you go, Ben, and I'll come back. This is a big story here for Jeremy Howe and the Magpies.
Bowie picks it up in the middle of the ground. His handball a turnover though. The Pies back with the footy, side bottom, loops it over the top to Long. Handball out wide for McCreary. Gathers, snaps inside 50. It's all the D's. May marks. 49 out from their defensive goal. Kicks to Viney.
Some of the hand passes in Melbourne have just been disgraceful. They've handed the ball. I don't know whether Collingwood can expect this next week in a final to be given so many opportunities with these just random marks, hand passes.
Viney kicks around the wing off the hands of Van Rooyen, sweeping onto it, side bottom of Collingwood. Handball away to Frampton, who shanks his kick, slews off the side of the boot, nearly hit Xander Maguire down there on the boundary line.
He looked like he's having a shot.
And to jump out of the way, Xander down there.
Boomerang got the goals mixed up.
Sparrow, who retreats with the kick, goes back to McDonald. Next stoppage will get down to Tim Hodges. Some concern on a soft tissue front for Jeremy Howe, who's barely played since round 18. Long kick down the line, punched out of bounds in front of the Collingwood bench. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Yeah, so I think somebody saw Howe come off and thought, he's done. So they put the paperwork in straight away. The Collingwood interchange steward then tried to get the paperwork back off the umpire, and they said, no, that's not allowed. He's out of the game because you've processed the paperwork. Jeremy Howe was getting ready to come back on the ground, and it was Craig McRae who turned to him and said, I'm sorry, mate, you're out. So I'm not sure it's as serious as we thought it might have been. He had a lot of work on his hamstrings from the physio earlier this term. He was the one who felt uncomfortable and came to the bench. So, yeah, this will be fascinating, and what a watch over the next few weeks leading into their first final, whether it's a qualifying final or an elimination final.
Free kick for Melbourne here from the boundary throw-in. Drives it long, Langdon to full forward, and an intercept mark for Frampton. One thing we know for sure, those Week 1 finals are the most previewed games of the year, so we'll be talking a whole lot about Howe's injury, I'm sure. Before that game, huge leap on the wing as Lockie Schultz got up in the lights but gives away a free kick as he doesn't make contact. What a fair sit on Blake Howes' back. Free kick for Howes. Would have been mark of the year if he stayed up there that long, and just out of reach. Collingwood by 14 points, 28 gone, second term.
Howes kicks around the worn wing. Up to the attacking arc for the D's. Moore puts his fist through it. straight out of play, throwing 55 around from the D's attacking goal.
That last mark was taken in a 10-yard area by Collingwood. They had 4 players down there. Melbourne didn't have any representation in the air. It's baffling when you've got Van Ruin. I think Gawn was down there. Just all out of position. It was a poor kick, and that's what's killing Melbourne at the moment. The decision-making with hand pass and football and footy is really killing them.
Gawn taking it out of the ruck, tries to get it to Oliver, worried out of it there by Chris. Gives it off to Long. He cuffs it up. Pickett tackled to ground by Schultz. Taken down hard as well. Umpire wants it. All up on the worn wing. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Collingwood by 14, closing in on the half.
Hasn't done much either. Pickett.
Gawn palms it down. Collingwood come away with it. Long hand pass away to Schultz. And receives a free kick and all of that, and now kicks to half forward. As Elliott stops, and into his back goes McDonald. Free kick for Elliott.
Clever by Elliott. Read the flight of the ball earlier than McDonald. Stopped through the free kick, though he did cop one in the back. It hurt a bit.
Tough way to earn it, Jamie Elliott. Career best year, 50 goals for the first time, so make that 51 after kicking one already tonight. Birthday for him during the week as well, turning 33 just yesterday. Kicks into the forward pocket. An intercept mark for Petrarca.
Well, that's good to see him go back, not knowing what's coming behind him, Petrarca, because really felt that he's been hindered by that injury.
Petrarca long to the wing. Off hands, it spills down to Long. He's tackled straight away, taken to ground. Ball up between wing and half forward for the Magpies. Tim Hodges.
Corbin, we appreciate the Collingwood media team always looking after us. They've let us know it's officially a groin injury for Jeremy Howe. So what do you think, Lingy and Mick? I mean, does that put September, certainly the first week of September, in some sort of peril, you would think?
Yeah, you've got to try and win that first one, get by an extra week's grace and maybe a prelim.
Well, I reckon he's had that injury before, Timmy, because I thought he had a groin, so he's done a hamstring concussion groin twice, so that's not a good sign.
I certainly saw him mouth the words on the camera as well of, I felt something pop.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not a good sign, is it? There's a free kick downfield. It's going to go from centre-half back where it was with May all the way up to centre-half forward, and Gawn to get the free kick.
It's against Maynard. Something's happened.
They're in a tangle. Ended up on the ground, both of them.
Going to need a replay of that one before we know exactly what's gone on, but Max Gawn's going to take the set shot here with 20 seconds left on the clock or so, and just on his distance, if he really strikes it well.
He doesn't like his chances, pokes it for Oliver, and he's got it. He was clipped high as well.
I just saw the replay of the free kick. There's no way it was a free kick to Gawn. Him and Maynard both were tangling and really nothing was going on.
We've seen too many of those things that are decided on who goes to ground and whatever. Don't you reckon, Lee?
Yeah. I mean, this one on Oliver, if it hadn't been a mark, it was definitely going to be a free kick on Chris. So there's no question about this one, but the one before, I don't think it was a free kick to Gawn.
Mark said 40 metres out directly in front.
Not a long kick.
What a storied career he's had at the D's. Is this the last time we see him out there in the red and the blue? His drop punt is missing. Tugs it left. Collingwood by 13 points at the main break. 6:10:46 plays 5:3:33. The goal kickers, all individuals right across the game. De Goey, Maynard, Elliott, Schultz, Sidebottom and Myercheck. While for Melbourne, Van Rooyen, Melksham, Fritsch, Petty and Pickett as well.
Pies have kicked the last 3 goals after falling behind. It's half-time. Magpies by 13. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Mick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling, your call team. Just a Hodgie ahead of Lingy and Mick. So Jeremy Howe, obviously the big watch down there, Hodgie.
Yeah, so he just spoke to both doctors right in front of me. It's a left groin, and it's the same groin he did against the Gold Coast. That was round 18, you might remember, in the first half. And I remember speaking to him after that when he was in at 360 at Fox Footy, and he said he was absolutely fine and could have played the next week. They then offered him to say, well, do you want to go out and run off with your team? And he said, no, not really. So he walked around the bench. So I think he's struggling a little bit, yeah, and that's... that is going to be a significant story for this team, whether they're playing in a cutthroat elimination final or a qualifying final in a couple of weeks' time.
So the only footy he's played is what we've seen tonight. If you basically, that he didn't play anything, did he, against Hawthorn? He got knocked out almost in the opening passage. So that's not a lot of footy since round 18, and given the fact that there's obviously a week off and then that first final. And what we won't know probably until Wednesday night is what days teams play on. We did an exercise during the week where we looked at the last 6 minor premiers, and there's not even any consistency as to when the minor premiers play. Yeah. In the last 6 years, it's gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday day, Saturday night, Friday, Thursday. So just because you finish one doesn't necessarily mean we know where they're going to play. So
I think with him, he's. I know we say he's a playmaker because of the simple fact he gets behind the ball and takes nice marks. I don't think he is going to be compounded by not playing. I reckon if he was an on-ball touch player, you would say, oh, it's been a long time. But because he can get him behind the ball and read the play, if he's right, then he could come back in and probably do the job. I don't know, what did he have? He's only played sort of a bit over a quarter and a quarter, wouldn't you say? You'd say 40 minutes of football.
He said, you talking about Jeremy Howe, 5 disposals?
So he's had 5. It's not remarkable, but he didn't look like he was...
Probably more importantly, no marks from the opposition. Sorry, no intercept marks.
No, right.
It's very different for him. Speaking of marks, Mick, just trying to look at that Collingwood forward line and think of, okay, they've taken the ball inside their forward 50 28 times, so on track for 56. Good result. Not the crazy numbers of last week at 71. But looking around at how efficient they are and are they connecting well from midfield into that forward line. So between Dan McStay and Tim Membry, 1 mark between them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of that one. It was
McStay hasn't marked. He hasn't marked the footy.
No, he got the ball out to a sidebottom, didn't he?
Yeah, so Membry's had the 1 mark and McStay 0. So just trying to find that really good connection. Obviously, Jamie Elliott and Brody Myercheck, both, I think there's 7 marks between them, and obviously they've kicked a goal lead. So those two, you would say, are winning their positions. And Elliott's had kick 1 goal 2, Myercheck's kick 1 goal 1. Just the other 2, and what that Collingwood forward line looks like to be as super efficient as what I picture the best version of Collingwood being. And obviously Bobby Hill's a huge out. Just the threat of him at ground level, the threat of him in the air.
He takes marks,
getting out the back. He opens up space for others. But they probably, I reckon Craig McRae and his coaching staff would be thinking, okay, how can we get a better efficiency out of McStay and Membry? Does my forward line, come finals, involve McStay, Membry and Myercheck, all 3? And it probably does, but just how they can make that one a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, and I guess in the back of their mind they think, is it too late now to bring Cox into the side in preference to McStay? You can't have them all in.
No.
But the other thing is, too, when you look at that side, with McStay being the second ruck, he doesn't spend, in my view, he doesn't spend a lot of time on the bench, so he spends time forward, bench, ruck, whereas Cameron spends, it looks like Cameron to me is basically ruck, bench, and not a lot of bench. But Cameron's a marking player. He can really do some serious problems, I think. But do they want to risk having him work 90% of the game time as opposed to going into a final series knowing that you need... Because Cameron is so important to him. He's vital, in fact.
He is. He's the one, isn't he? I mean, and Cameron's even tonight's probably coming off a little bit.
Coming off the ground.
Off the ground.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going forward, though.
No, he's not going forward at all. Because
he can mark the ball.
So Darcy, Cameron is, say, the 6th least game time for Collingwood so far. So he's actually coming to the bench quite a bit.
6th least? Does that mean he's the 14th?
I probably didn't say that overly well, did I? But he's only played 48 minutes of game time.
Oh, okay.
And Darcy Moore says the most has had 57 minutes of game time. So he's down, less game time is what he's played.
Yes.
I should have said that one better.
So that's that. Well, what they're trying to do, no doubt, is get McStay into the game.
Yeah, correct. So they're leaving him out there a little bit more between the forward line and into the ruck for a little burst.
Yeah.
But,
try to run him into form.
When I look at this tonight, and I still strongly believe 16 shots at goal to 8, and we've got a game on our hands because the margin's 13 points. I still feel like Collingwood go on and win, and win probably pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at them for their finals run. How can they regain that super efficiency going forward, the speed of ball movement, the fear?
The go is helping.
Yes, absolutely.
Tonight, he's probably been his best game for a while.
Since he's back, yeah. So the fear of their attack, again, other teams, I reckon, when they're at their peak and winning a premiership, other teams were worried about their ball movement and the speed and the amount they could score. Right now, it's still not quite clicking despite being in control of this game.
Couple off the SMS for you before we get to the news. Rich from Ocean Grove, great call tonight, team. Have you noticed 7 of the top disposal winners are Demons? Thanks, Rich. Appreciate that. Brendan from Hobart, since about round 17, the Pies look like they're running in quicksand. They look a little better with Bo McCreary back, don't they? And they certainly would love Bobby Hill if he was the best of Bobby and the obviously he's been away from the club for a period.
Can I quickly say with that first text, it's a great observation, but some of their numbers, so Oliver's had 16, but 6 kicks, 10 handballs. Jack Viney's had 15, but 5 kicks, 10 handballs.
And given a lot back.
Yeah, heaps and heaps of handballs, an overuse of the handball at the moment.
Rob from Greensborough, Pendlebury tapped that ball back like it was basketball. Did you know that he had a basketball background? Thanks, Rob. We did know that one. From HP, listening in Narran in WA with a balmy 20-degree evening. No vested interest in this game, but love listening to you, Mob. Great to have the A-team to listen to. Corbin, Ben, Mick, Lingy and Hodgie. My idea of the A-team. Hope this number is the correct one. It is. HP, nice to hear from you. And from Fran in Melbourne, who's a big Collingwood fan, says, good call, boys. Thanks for the call during the year and the special comments. Mick, maybe a chat with someone at the Collingwood coaching staff like you did with Scotty Burns to maybe improve the poor kicking. Of course, you did chat to Scotty earlier in the year. You said, look, you can't win the flag if you don't get a little more sound defensively. And what happened? Tightened up.
Fixed it up.
Aussie defence.
I don't know. I'll take credit, but I don't think he took too much notice. I did mention one player that they shouldn't play. He hasn't played. So, I mean, I don't want to be a grim reaper there, but speed. It's speed. No, you work it out. It's got to be speed. You've got to get speed. You cannot. I'll say this right now. At the Adelaide Oval, you have the football come into the centre, you'll find Walker on the 50. You come into the centre at the MCG on the same sort of play with that player playing, he will mark it on the half-foot flat, he'll be 2 kicks away. It's horses for courses.
You got to remember in this media radio game, I know you speak too much sense and you've got the sensible coaching hat on. We're all about the headlines, and what we want is Moldhouse turns around Crows. We're crediting our man Mick Moldhouse with all of that. It's half-time here at the MCG. Magpies by 13 points. They've kicked the last 3 goals after falling behind. I'll bring you up to date with everything else that's going on in sport in just a moment, plus the incoming Chief Executive of the Melbourne Football Club joined me in the pre-game. I'll bring you some of that too, plus a crazy finish in the NRL. All of that ahead. It's Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. The Pies by 13 at half-time. Let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Clive Hunton. Police have charged the mother of a newborn baby whose body was discovered in a stormwater drain. Lily Cristante has this report from Perth.
On Monday afternoon, maintenance workers conducting routine checks and clearing of storm drains found the boy's body on LaSalle Road in Alexander Heights. Police say they found the mother with the assistance of the community. Today, police have charged the 31-year-old woman with concealing the birth of a deceased child. Police say the woman is continuing to receive appropriate support and medical care. She's due to face the Perth Magistrates Court at a later date.
Education ministers have agreed to create a national register of early childhood educators in response to recent allegations of abuse in the sector. Political reporter Nicole Hegarty has more.
State, territory and federal education ministers agreed to create the National Register of Workers, which will include their contact and employment details and if they're subject to any investigations. They also agreed to trial CCTV cameras in centres. Federal Education Minister Jason Clare says the measures will help to restore faith in the sector.
Doing the work that is necessary to rebuild confidence for mums and dads.
Shadow Federal Education Minister John O'Duniam has backed the plan.
These steps are welcome, they are necessary and they must be implemented urgently.
Initial work on the measures will begin in coming months.
And as part of that plan, up to 300 childcare centres are expected to take part in the security camera trial. It'll examine where cameras should be placed, who holds the data and how to protect the footage from being hacked. But the Independent Education Union's Carol Matthews says staff conditions are just as important as surveillance.
Questions about staff vacancies, high staff turnover, high engagement of casual staff, employing lesser qualified staff are all matters which affect the quality of care. We think that it's really important that The pay and conditions of staff are given much more focus.
Overseas, former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been acquitted of royal defamation charges following accusations he insulted the monarchy. He denies infringing the laws in an interview 10 years ago and has repeatedly expressed loyalty to Thailand's king. Mr. Shinawatra's lawyer says the former PM is the real victim.
The court reached a verdict to dismiss the case against the defendant. I've said this before, and I still think the same, that he's the victim here. And now he's proven himself through legal means, which led to the outcome today.
The case is the first of many to come involving him and his daughter, who's the current Prime Minister. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has issued an order to resume negotiations for a peace deal in Gaza after securing approval to expand the war there. The BBC's Yolande Nell reports.
It's very likely that pressing ahead with this operation to capture all of Gaza City is going to make it very difficult to achieve a new ceasefire and hostage release deal. And some of the relatives of the living hostages have really expressed their frustration, their disappointment with all of this. The Prime Minister didn't specifically reject what Hamas has agreed to from the regional mediators, this phased deal, but really this does amount to a rejection of that offer.
Meanwhile, a UN-backed body responsible for monitoring food security says famine has been found in Gaza for the first time. John O'Wakely has the details.
In a 59-page report, the UN's IPC says the famine it's identified in Gaza is entirely man-made and can be halted and reversed. The IPC is a global initiative of UN agencies, aid groups and governments, and is the primary mechanism the international community uses to conclude whether a famine is happening. It's escalated its classification to Phase 5, the highest and worst level of its acute food insecurity scale. It says famine exists in the Gaza Governorate, which includes Gaza City and its surrounds. Israel says it firmly rejects the IPC's report, labelling it false and biased, citing methodological issues.
And organisers of a pro-Palestinian protest in Brisbane have agreed to take a different route after being banned from walking across the Story Bridge on Sunday. A Queensland magistrate yesterday banned the march across the bridge due to safety concerns. The group called Justice for Palestine and police have agreed to an alternative route from the city to Musgrave Park in South Brisbane. And Samoa's schools will reopen in September after being closed for a month due to the country's dengue fever outbreak. In the past week, Samoa has recorded more than 1,000 new cases, with 50 people receiving care in hospital. And that's ABC News.
You meet the most interesting people on Sunday morning.
I tell you what, I'd kill for some clean air and a good coffee over here. And there's no generic latte over here.
Come home straight away, please. Join the rest of Australia right here on Sunday morning.
Australia All Over on ABC Radio. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
A smooth moving Pendlebury kicks out to half forward. Got it in the direction of Lipinski, who spears it inside 50, and here's Myercheck hitting up and marking at left half forward. Myercheck, who's had some problems with his wrist already tonight. There's no problem with his kicking boots. He's got those on. Then pass away to Melksham, long to full forward. Fritsch is down there, he takes a chest mark. Somehow in a pack of four, Fritsch clears him out, kicks the goal, and Melbourne have their fourth of the night.
Cameron lays it down, Petty knocks it out here for the D's. Sparrow away to Melksham, squeezes it through. There's a margin now, the D's are in front. Josh Dacos picks it up, pies ball forward of centre again. Waits a kick neatly for Pendlebury. He can give it off to the goey. This will bring the house down. Yes, Geordie! Collingwood lead by 7. He's backing at his best. And when he is, he's a difference maker.
Membry, hand pass to McCreary, kicks backwards, but it turns out. And a sprawling mark for Sidebottom at right half forward. Here's Sidebottom, the experienced vet, to settle it down. The drop punch caught. And Collingwood with some breathing room.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
So they fell behind the Magpies, as you heard there, and they steady with the next 3 goals in the game. And as a result, as we sit here at halftime, it is the Magpies who lead it by 13 points, 6-10 over Melbourne, who are 5 goals 3. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron, Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling, and Tim Hodges on the boundary. Some concern about Jeremy Howe, subbed out with a groin injury in that first half. Of course, with finals on the horizon. How about the NRL tonight? There's a big game between the Storm and the Bulldogs. The Storm with an early jump there at home, 25 minutes in. They lead the Doggies 10 points to zip. But the game that happened earlier tonight, an incredible ending in which it went to golden point after scores were tied at 16-all at the end of regulation. The Penrith Panthers up against the Canberra Raiders, so top 8 tussle here between two teams in contention to win it all. And with the scores tied at 16-all after regulation, off to golden point, and we pick it up with our own Tim Gable on ABC Sport.
Last tackle coming up here. Back it comes now. Long pass to Cleary. 35 metres out. Has a shot at field goal. It bounces off the upright into the field of play. Raiders have got possession through Stewart, who sprints downfield. Left-hand side, he's got Strange in support. Strange comes towards the fullback. He gets through that. He sprints away. He's over the halfway, over the 30, and coming across. He managed to get his arms free. Pass on the inside. Waits is away. Try Raiders! Try Raiders! Wow! Golden point extra time. Rugby league. Don't you love it? Oh, wow.
That is absolutely bonkers. So Cleary has a field goal to win it, hits the upright, and the Raiders return at the length of the field, an 80-metre try to win the game.
For those who like their American football, that is rugby league's version of the kick six. Lingy, which Auburn did in college football against Alabama, many years ago. Yep. That is rugby league's version of that.
Exactly the version of
what
it.
An
unlucky way to lose it. Great way to win it.
What an ending tonight in the NRL. Now, the cricket is on at the moment. Of course, Australia are in action against South Africa. South Africa batting first. They set a target of 278. The Aussies in the 28th over, 5 for 133.
Yeah, stick with the footy, I think, tonight. Listen to us. I don't think tune into the cricket's a good idea.
That's a series-clinching win for South Africa if they're able to rock and roll the Aussies there. So Australia playing for survival in the best-of-3 series in Mackay. Call available through the ABC Listen app if that is your choosing. And it is nearly quarter time in Adelaide. The Suns lead the Power by 3 points. So 2-5 to 2-2. Don't worry, we'll get you there for the second half and all the farewell for Ken Hinkley, so we'll take you there at the completion of our game here. What would you have been saying if you're Craig McRae at halftime? And I know we're looking at it a lot through a Collingwood prism. They are the team, obviously, Lingy, headed for the final series, but what would be your main message at halftime if you're Craig McRae?
So the big message is we're doing a lot right. We're doing a lot right. We're winning the ball. We're taking the ball off them pretty well. We're limiting their inside 50s pretty well. We're creating the turnovers. Hey, let's just be prepared to go a little faster with the ball when we get a turnover. And if we don't have a fast turnover opportunity, hey, let's not panic. Let's not just blast the ball away. Let's use each other, maybe be some patient with the width of the ground and spread it a little bit with a switch or a wider use to just separate those Melbourne defenders and then take the ball inside forward 50. For me, the only step Collingwood needs to take to be back there, right back into their very best form, is their last kick or two, either building up to inside 50 or inside 50. That's the big difference. They're doing a lot of the other things right tonight, but just connecting with their forwards and getting a couple of nice, easy marks on leads, which we saw glimpses of. That's the step for the Pies for me. So Craig McRae would be pushing that as best he can.
How serious are Melbourne? They've got Edling off, Dacos starting. So I'm just wondering does it make sense?
Yeah. Just decided to drop away from that completely then, haven't they? Are they going to try it with someone else? Teach somebody else a role? But
so it makes sense, does it really?
Yeah, Jack Viney just bumping into Nick here at the centre bounce.
Yeah, but if that's the matchup, Nick Dacos will burn him off.
Second half action upon us. Collingwood by 13 points. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Here's Ben Cameron.
Umpire lays it down. Both rucks with hands to it. Cameron goes a second time. Taps it to DeGoey. He gets rid of it. Pickett pinches it. Off to Oliver. The D's at half forward. Chandler chips inside 50. Moore swats it away with authority. Tully goes and picks it up. Handball to Pickett. D's ball again. Loops it away to Chandler. Wide out, half forward, kicks into the pocket. It skids through. It bounces through.
It's going to be a free kick though, Benny. Sorry to ruin you. Good call. You were right. It did bounce through. But it was the free kick against Melksham for the push in the back, going to Perryman, I believe.
Couldn't believe it. It had overshot two potential markers of the football and skidded through from the tight angle. Not to be.
Maynard goes short to side bottom. still at half-back, and a short kicking game to Perryman, and all of a sudden the Magpies are up to left half-back in front of the Melbourne race. Kicks flirting with the boundary line, and in the end Cameron's going to take the mark, and that'll be paid.
Wow.
Don't argue it, Van Rooyen. You've got to contest it.
Yeah, exactly. Punch the ball out of you. Don't want him to mark it.
He was appealing for out on the full, and yet in the end he just allowed Cameron to take the mark. Kicks down the wing. Here's Nick Dacos. Always dangerous. There's a full 360 on the spot. And a short kick down the wing to Crisp.
Yeah, so this is the patient version of their ball use. They can't go quick. Melbourne is set. They got gone down the line.
Crisp loads up, kicks inside the forward 50. They come from all directions, and a good intercept mark for Turner in all of that.
I was just saying they were using patient ball use. They got it to, 80, 85 out from goal by kick, mark, and then they just went away from it and kicked long, straight back to all of Melbourne's defensive numbers. I reckon they still, if they're in patient mode, stay in patient mode. If they get a turnover and go fast, stay in fast mode.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm just watching Melbourne play a totally different game. They've kicked the ball 4 times for 20 metres at best. Now that it's being up.
Salem goes long to the contest on the wing. Van Rooyen with hands on it. Sparrow picks it up. Kick goes 1 metre, knocked down by Cameron. Viney barging through, soccers it on. Might sit up for Melksham, half forward for the D's. Handball to Sparrow, fresh area on the kick. Now Viney rushes it inside 50. Turnover, Houston back there for the Pies. Off to Josh Dacos, kicks out wide. Gawn gets in front of Cameron. Sprawling mark.
Great work.
Well, he's just unbelievable. But if you want an indicator of if you're gone as a footballer, I'm sorry, Jack Viney, you've been an absolute warrior, but that last effort showed it all.
Gawn kicks inside 50, but an intercept mark for Frampton. Picks it off.
He's called play on. Got to go after him. Yep.
The sweeping Polyfarmer hand pass goes all the way back to the defensive goal square for Houston. Kicks looking for Schultz. Can't complete the mark, but earns a free as V got him high. Short kick down the boundary line to Nick Dacos with his huge motor.
Yeah, not only his motor, but his speed, and they got the wrong matchup.
Bowie's left trailing in there as the kick for Nick Dacos kicks down the wing. Long breaks it up, punches it away. Oh, the two Ds left it for each other in the end. Turner cleans it up and intercepts from Melbourne to Oliver, to Salem, all by hand on the wing. Hand pass to Pickett, kicks inside the centre square, and there's Gawn again.
Van Rooyen in 50.
Takes the mark, kicks in that direction. Now backpedaling more, knocks it away from him. Side bottom scoops up at half-back for Collingwood.
On his left, kicks from McCreary in front of the members he marks.
That's class, isn't it? Just that left foot. He's a right footer, but just that clears the ball, steals side bottom.
Collingwood by 13 points. McStay to Maynard. Kicks towards the elbow. Elliott, up he goes and comes down with it. Not his biggest ride, but still entertaining enough. Wide out at half forward, he sets it up. There's 3 Ds down there. Gawn can't mark. McVie scoots onto the footy, picks it up off to McDonald. Short kick. And Chandler.
Kicks for Petrarca. Runs underneath it. Ball spills out the back, and here's Houston. Is it on the logo southern side and kicks further wide to Steele. Not to be confused with Steele side bottom. This is Roan Steele. He was the sub tonight. Picked up in the mid-season draft down to West Perth. Victorian originally as he kicks inside the forward 50, and here's McStay hitting up her marks at right half forward.
There's his opportunity, McStay. He's a left footer, so we know that he's got the distance. That was a good lead, good kick. Yeah. Melbourne player pulled out at the psychological second, though. I reckon Salem could have cut that off.
A much better entry, though. I know it's wide, but when Melbourne have got 5 players standing in the deep spot,
McStay runs out to his left to open up the angle. He won't score. Kicks it to the opposite pocket. Langford intercepts and brings Melbourne out of defence.
His kick for Van Rooyen, spoiled away by Maynard. Side bottom Rosa, Pies half forward off to Perryman. Short kick for Elliott.
He's causing some real worries to them, Elliott. He's marking it on 50, in 50, on the lead, in the air.
Too far out to score, centres it towards Perryman.
Melbourne mids have got to stay switched on here. They're going to look for a little one.
Perryman looks to the pocket. McStay coming across May, knocks it down. Cully roves the pack, dispossessed in the tackle, live footy. Right forward pocket for Collingwood, but the umpire crosses himself. He'll ball it up in that pocket. Collingwood by 13.
So now vice versa. Melbourne have got to realise they've got a heap of numbers back here, so you can't just blast away.
Cameron wins the hit out inside the forward 50, but Cully knocks it away towards Salem, and the Demons get it out of there.
Like that. You can't just blast away. Collingwood are going to keep pumping it back inside. So if you've got all your numbers back, then you're going to have to run and share it a little bit more.
You don't need 16, 15, 16 down there, Liggy. You've got to have a box formation out, as we discussed all year.
Frampton
something to kick the ball to.
Frampton earns the free, then goes back to Moore. Long kick inside 50. Punched away, but first one there is Turner for the Demons. Handball away to Bowie, and he again kicks out of the defensive arc up the half-back for Melbourne.
Just a high clearing kick, and they find a marker. No. Sparrow paddling it. Long plays tunnel ball. Off to the goey. Half-forward here for Collingwood. Handball back infield. Perryman. A little fumble. Good enough to recover. Now in the middle of the ground. He'll look back to the pocket for the Pies. Elliott outnumbered. And May drags it down. Back pocket, kicks for Pickett.
Collingwood aren't being smart with their boys going forward, and Melbourne hasn't been that smart with their boys exiting.
Like, Pickett turns around and kicks it. If he looked up, he would have had a black and white wall in front of him. He had not one Melbourne player.
This is a concern. A Collingwood premiership player hobbling to the bench. Tim Hodges.
Yeah, it's Bo McCreary. I'm not sure whether it was a corky. I'm just going to watch him. So maybe go back to you, Corbett, and come back to me in a bit.
D's kick it down to half forward. Moore can't quite take the intercept mark. Spills to Petrarca at half forward. Forced to get boot on Paul and just turns it over as the Pies run away with it. There's Houston who just stabs the kick short. Out to Steele, who marks against the boundary line. Pick 8, Roan Steele in the mid-season draft, by the way, was Casey originally before going to West Perth and then drafted in the mid-season draft out of the WAFL to Collingwood.
Langdon's still off. Rivers, Howe, Petty, I don't think they've been on the ground.
Nick Dacos to Degoe, kicks into the middle of the ground. The target was Cameron. It's broken up and the knees are away. Langford, head pass out to Viney. Kicks into an open forward 50. Melksham trying to reel in the one-hander. Takes the juggled mark.
Oh, lucky got away with that. There are two players in front of... It was Jack Viney had two clear players who were probably running into an open goal from 40 metres.
Meanwhile, Collingwood have already lost Jeremy Howe tonight to a groin injury, and now McCreary banged up. We'll get back to Hodgie after this kick. So one thing they didn't want out of the night were further injuries on the eve of September. Hooking across the body, Melksham. He hasn't hit it. And misses across the face of behind. Collingwood by 12. Tim Hodges downstairs.
So Bro McCreary, it's a left foot, so it looked like someone must have landed on him. He spoke to the doctor and they've taken him down to the rooms. The other interesting one, guys, is Brodie Myercheck. He just came onto the ground to replace Daniel McStay. McStay went to give him a high five. Myercheck turned his entire body around to protect that right wrist that gave him such a concern in the first term as he just slipped over and let Stephen May take the mark. So, gee, that's going to be a pretty big x-ray on Brodie Myercheck tomorrow morning on that right wrist, which is clearly still giving him grief.
The D's turn it over through Bowie. Tops it up to Crisp. Here go the Pies.
Speed's got to be turned on the game now.
Houston out to Schultz on the worn wing. Gives it off to Roan Steele, who moves it short.
Lipinski out the back if they want him.
Elliott marks and goes short for memory. Sliding into mark, 40 out, tight angle, right forward pocket.
It's just, it's real. It's the difference in the class, I think. Melbourne have opportunities. You look at that shot of Melksham. You look at the way they take the ball in. It's just been haphazard. Collingwood look different, look better.
Can I be this might be a little bit picky for Collingwood. That was such a clear turnover, though. The really top Collingwood is kicking this goal from 10 metres out straight in front.
I understand. We've got to come from somewhere if you're down a little bit. Yeah. So. Yeah, you make all believe how... I mean, he's a good set shot.
Tim Membry, the tight angle, is just across the face on the set shot. Looks good for a lot of the journey, not to beat. Collingwood by 14 points, 10 into the third. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
200th tonight. He actually made his debut for the Sydney Swans. He was a late inclusion for a guy named Lance Franklin one Friday night. Tim Membry, of course, went to St Kilda, played all those games, and now he's 21st with Collingwood. Brings up the 200 milestone tonight as the D's work it up the wing. Kicks across the ground to Oliver. Dabs it over halfway, finds Petrarca, got there on the bounce. Umpire says keep going. Hand pass away to Rivers. He's off and running, kicks inside the forward arc. Good half volley pick up, shoots a hand pass away, and all of that was Sparrow, but a turnover And Collingwood come away with it. The kick goes out wide. It's a little hill directed from Josh Dacos. Slides out of bounds, half forward for the D's.
Now that's what I mean about that class.
Yeah.
They're running into 50 and he tries to kick the ball. He's got no left foot. He kicks the ball 3 metres on the ground, and yet either should have had a shot, give a hand pass, or knock the goal over. So Melbourne are leaving a lot out there, and Collingwood are reaping the benefits of it.
Throw in half forward for the D's. Gawn backhands it down. Long coming through. He slaps it back corridor. McVie soccers it inside 50 for the D's. Clean pick up from Melksham. Away to Pickett. Hand to foot. Snaps on goal. Bends it through.
Wow.
The Wizard of Cos. His second. The first multiple goal kicker in the game. It had the reverse swing lingy. The double breaker in the air and straight through the middle. And Melbourne stay within touching distance. Collingwood by 7. 6-11 plays 6-4. 12 minutes into the third.
Mick was just making the point, and it was a correct point about the fact that Melbourne don't have the quality of skill, the finish, probably except for that one player, Cozzy Pickett, and throughout the course of the entire season it has been Cozzy, and then you start talking about the rest of Melbourne.
Yeah, it should be Petrarca, but he's been less than impressive tonight. Maxi Gore we know.
And we probably park a couple of the real young guys who are showing real promise, like Langford and these sorts of ones. They're on there early on in their journey. But Cozzy's been, he's been the one.
I mean, he's all Australian written all over him, isn't it?
Yeah. Time to get fitted up for that blazer. Goal number 200 for Cozzy as well, and his 126th game. So another little milestone. And that box tick there as Sparrow gives it to Gawn. Hand pass away to Oliver. Handball to Rivers. Back to Oliver. Demons get it out the middle. He was taken high and all that. Advantage applied. Everyone stopped. So Langford off a step. Kicks goalward. He's got the trip. It's a fair kick. Oh, the kid's good. And Langford makes it a 1-point game. That was effortless. From right on the 50, everyone looking at the umpire. Langford said, no problem, I'll just whack it through from here. And now Collingwood's lead trimmed to just 1. They've got 2 injuries on their bench. And Melbourne are right on the doorstep. 13 gone, third term. The Demons 7-4-46. Collingwood 6-11-47. Magpies by 1. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
We say Pickett. Yeah, this kid's 19 years of age. He has got something. I'd like to see them prove themselves a little bit before I start labouring. But he's done a lot today to suggest that he's going to be okay.
Yeah, and you're right. You want them to earn their stripes before we go raving too much. But I like some of their picks recently. So him and Lindsay as the combination picks at pick 6 and Lindsay was at pick 11. Thank you, Benny. Throw in Windsor as well. So there's those 3 to work with.
Out of the middle, Gawn trying to take it out of the ruck. He dribbles a kick away. Umpire lets them rumble. And now we'll come in and ball it up. Umpire tone up. Collingwood leading by a point. Gawn and Cameron. Cameron down for Nick Dacos. Gives it to Pendlebury. He's tackled, loses it. Nick soccers it off the deck. The D's have the numbers. Howe's a little fumble. Lipinski gets it out. Still they fight after it. And Salem somehow emerges with it. The D's through the middle. Langdon tumbles it inside 50. Right onto the chest of Petty. Petty wants to move it on quickly. Looking for Fritsch. Got him.
No, that's relaying the problem from there. Petty almost in front. Gives it to Fritsch, who's a left footer. Kicking from the right footer's fence. I'm not sure about that kick. You need to kick it, Benny.
Yep, it's a tight angle for Bailey Fritsch.
I mean, he should get it. He's a forward, and that's his craft, is to kick that. But Petty was in a very good position to kick his own.
And when he was at his best, he was a dead-eye.
He's just kicking it from 2 metres out.
Bailey Fritsch. He's got it. Fritsch goals, swings the lead, and Collingwood on the Fritz. 8-4-52 plays 6-11-47. The D's by 5 points, quarter hour mark in this third term. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
Well, Mick, I don't know how we've got to this position. I truly don't. Melbourne currently lead it by 5 points, and in the last 7 minutes, all the momentum has been Melbourne's way. Collingwood should be dominating this game. You certainly metres gained on the stat sheet. They're about 300 metres behind in this quarter alone. They're struggling at the moment, Collingwood, certainly in the last little patch. In a game they should just be taken care of without any question whatsoever.
And in your area, Lingy, where you're best at, the clearances, 4-1.
4-1 Melbourne's way.
And again, there's not a lot of clearances.
No.
There's not a lot of ball ups. The ball's been out in the open. There's another time it's going to go.
Here we go. Van Rooyen grabs it out the ruck, hands it away to Cully, and the Demons are going forward again. Pickett's in the pack. Offhand spills down to Gawn. He slips over. Ball comes back to him. Handball out to Rivers. Hooks it across the body but misses. So Demons here lead it by 6 points. An incredible turnaround. The Pies kicked the last 3 of the first half, and Melbourne have kicked the first 3 after half-time. So a 6-point lead for the D's. Meanwhile, in Adelaide, 5 minutes into the second quarter, and it is the Suns who lead by 10 points over Port Adelaide. So a 10-point game at present.
That's interesting, Corby, in regard to percentage.
Yes.
Because that might tell us a lot.
Houston taking the kick in, looking for Roan Steele, who receives a free kick.
So we expect the Magpies to be in a glut of teams on 64 points, where it could become a percentage battle to work out who gets that last spot in the top 4. And at the moment, the Pies are flat out just getting to 64 points, let alone the percentage boost.
Steele kicks around the wing, turns it over. May intercept marks and kicks infield to Rivers. Melbourne by 6 points. Can you believe that? Trailed by 13 at half-time. They've kicked 3 unanswered goals.
Live ladder at the moment, Ben. They're down to 5th, Collingwood.
Bowie sends it long inside 50. Bounces in the forward pocket here for the D's. Onto it quickly. Houston pops the kick beyond the defensive arc, and Steele side bottom roves, and now the D's can clear through Houston.
Tumbles a kick down the wing for Collingwood. Unkind bounce for Nick Dacos. It'll work for Myercheck. Hand pass out in front of Elliott. Needs a Sunday hop. Gets it eventually. Goes back by hand to Nick Dacos. He's 55 metres out. Great vision. Kicks for Lipinski. Leaps up. Couldn't quite take the mark. Pack forms behind him. Umpire circles and says ball up.
Who was that, the Melbourne player? You guys
that was brilliant.
That was superb, wasn't it?
Who was
waiting
that?
to see. Was it Sparrow?
I reckon
Yes, it was.
Hales or Sparrow?
No, Sparrow it was.
Yeah.
He turned at just the right time to make that spoil. Brilliant footy.
Up it goes. McStay trying to grab it out of the ruck. Spills down to Nick Dacos. Hand pass away to Degoe. He kicks right to the behind line. Getting back. Good effort in all of that. Tumbling down Stephen May. Kills it through for a behind.
Could have been marked by McDonald. Had been a bit more voice there. A bit more coordination between the 2 Melbourne defenders. Probably they have played a fair bit together, so I'm surprised that didn't take place.
Melbourne by 5. 18 and a half gone. Third quarter. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Salem with the kick in. Cully goes up, slips through his hands, tumbles out.
He's got a fair leap on him, doesn't he, Joe Cully?
Yeah,
he just mistimed that one, didn't he? He went early. If he timed it right, nice easy mark with his big leap.
I saw him take a hanger against the Eagles a couple of weeks ago, and it was one of those things where he thought, I didn't realise he had that in his game, but...
Melbourne by 5 points. McStay slaps it to the back for Pendlebury. Can't handle it. Bowie takes it away for the D's to Langford. Loops it to Langdon, running through the middle of the G. Waits the kick for Fritsch. Marks on 50. Holds it up. And he'll go back and likely kick for the sticks. Quaynor will stand the mark. 49 metres out.
When's the alarm bell start going off in the Collingwood coach's box?
Oh, about 6 minutes ago.
Good news for Flyers that he's on the bench, so he's not hearing them anyway.
I'm not talking. It might be the loss of the game, but just the way the game has shifted completely, momentum-wise, and what Melbourne are starting to do from contest. They're getting their tails up.
Bailey Fritsch, the only multiple goal kicker in the game, eyeing a third and extending this Melbourne lead into double figures. 11 points. 9-5-59 plays, 6-12-48. 20 minutes into the third. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
Well, we did say several times in the first quarter and probably a couple of times in the second quarter, Collingwood can't afford to waste opportunities that they had with kicking points, because at some stage it may come back and haunt them. We're not saying it's over, but interestingly enough, when you've kicked 9-5 and the opposition 6-12, you've given up so many that you generally get. So now the confidence is sitting with Melbourne.
Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Just an update on Bo McCreary. Returned from the rooms, was still in a lot of pain, has been taken back to the rooms with the doctor and the doctor's bag. I imagine a jab in that left foot that was trodden on to try and get him through this game.
Rivers' first possession at the restart gives it to Viney. Guess who's going forward again? The Demons to centre half forward. Punched away by Maynard. Picked up by Josh Dacos, but he slips over. Dees win it back. Langford to Langdon. And pass away towards Van Rooyen. Petty, rather, he's tackled. And the standing tackle at half forward for the D's.
He gives a good contest, Petty.
Yeah.
Not always, the best forward, but he does give a really good contest, even there in the ruck just there.
And Cameron palms it down to Crisp. Clearing kick down the wing, just out of reach for Myercheck. Keeping his feet, Van Rooyen. Melbourne keep it in the front half. Hand pass away to McPhee. Sells two dummies. Still going. Has a bounce. Now drives the kick inside 50 for the Demons. Pack develops. Spills front and centre. Close to the boundary line. And Perryman sees it out.
Corbs, you loved your live ladder. You just mentioned it before. Gold Coast are 0.5% away from taking fifth spot off Collingwood and sending the Pies to sixth.
Wow.
I know it's still very, very early, but
that shows how tight it is.
Yeah.
We won't know until next Wednesday, really.
Suns by 5 points in that other game, by the way. Second quarter action there.
From the throw-in, Cozzy Pickett sweating on it. Rushes a kick. It'll come down to the goal square. And Frampton marks defensively for the Pies.
That should be 50. Yes, it is. Melcham, you've got to be smarter than that. You know you've got to stand at the end of the goal square. 9 metres.
Didn't get back off.
No.
The mark just stood exactly where Frampton took it rather than coming back.
And he's questioning it. No, we've all known that rule for a couple of years, Jakey.
Maybe not quite Jake just yet. As Frampton moves it to Long. Sends it out wide for Quaynor. Collingwood ball. Melbourne lead by 11 late in the third term.
Tees have kicked the only 4 goals in the quarter. After Collingwood kicked the last 3 before half-time, and you felt like they were ready to flex out of the break. They've lost Jeremy Howe to a groin injury, a foot problem for Bo McCreary, and a problem on the scoreboard. They've conceded the last 4, and they're behind Collingwood by 11. Short kicking game down to Long, who marks it right half forward.
He can kick. Oh, he's going to go short.
He's looking for De Goey. Usually a good idea, and he's got it.
Very ordinary.
Yeah, Mick, I'll let you have that one.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
Christian Petrarca standing behind him, and De Goey able to mark almost uncontested.
Well, it was uncontested because he wanted to bot him. He was going to jump over. He can't get off the ground. He looks heavy to me, but he just didn't put any body on him.
Here we go. He's their big prime-time player. De Goey across the face, and it's punched out of bounds by McDonald. Boundary throwing opposite pocket. We'll do it all again. Still deep forward for Collingwood. And a good second term, Jordan De Goey, trying to work his way back into the season late. It's been so interrupted through injury. 24 minutes gone in the third term. Melbourne by 11.
De Goey should go to this contest. Yeah, with Petrarca as the matchup. He'll end up with it and kick a goal on him.
Forward 50 stoppage for the Pies. Neither ruck decisive. Bowie coming through. Wrenched off it by Chris. Holding the ball. And Jack Chris will get a chance to swing the momentum of this game.
Don't you just have to try to dispose of the ball if you don't have prior opportunity? Or do you think he had prior opportunity?
I reckon he took a step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ignored the handball. Yeah. Fair.
That's a free kick. Not to realise you're hot, though. I just don't get that. You're in a stoppage for a start off. You pick it up and what, you're just going to wander through, are you?
Deep in the back line.
Yeah, deep. Oh, I just don't. There's feeding them. They leave their brains in the locker.
Crisp's drop punt is pure. Melbourne's lead cut to 5. 9-5-59 plays 7-12-54. 2 minutes and change from three-quarter time. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
Look, I know it happens quite... Look, I know that I used to drive them nuts at times, Lingy, but I would say at half-time, I'm going to give you one message. Go into your locker room and unzip your brain and unzip your head and put your brain in. Because that was the difference between being smart and being effective. And quite often, like to waltz through a backline like that, you have got to think that beam me up, Scotty, or I'm just going to waltz through here like Gary Ablett Jr. and get a kick away. No, you guess what your name is. Just think who you are, not...
Halfway through the second term in Adelaide, Suns by 5 points. Here it's a 5-point game as well. Melbourne over Collingwood back in the middle, and the Demons' number 5 is locked up in Christian Petrarca. So interesting stage of the night. Collingwood are playing to try and vie for that top 4 positioning at the moment. They're sliding down the table. They could be as low as 8th by the end of the weekend.
So they've broken the Langdon tag, Melbourne. They made that clear from the start of this quarter, and he's not even coming onto him now when he's on the ground.
Repeat ball-ups in the middle, and now a free kick for a hold. Melbourne take the advantage and all of that. Petrarca drives it deep. Going up, Quaynor takes the intercept mark for Collingwood.
Quaynor went to the contest. Fritsch ran to the goal square.
Kicks to Chris. Here go Collingwood back the other way, trying to get a bit of pace on the ball. Hand pass away to Long. Tries to fend off. He's caught. Handball away. Gordon's got it for the Demons. Handball to Oliver.
Oliver looks for Fritsch. Half-forward flank. He can turn and look inside 50. Dabs it for Melksham. Slides into mark.
Well, that's not the Collingwood defence we've seen at their best last year either. They just fell off, got in behind their opponents, didn't block up any hole, didn't have numbers. Their midfield didn't get in, didn't at any stage get back there, Lingy. No.
Jake Melksham. What a renaissance of sorts it's been for him. 1-2 on the night. Boot to ball from 48 out. His drop punt is good. And Melksham restores an 11-point Demons lead. He's got a couple. 10-5-65. Plays 7-12-54. The challenge laid down to the Pies. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
Well, the challenge is there, you're right. And now, because of their own making, Collingwood have got to dig their way out of this. We keep talking about it, the top 4. There's a lot on the line tonight, and I certainly, for one, came here tonight and even again at halftime just thinking Collingwood, they're going to win this. Right now, Melbourne believe they're going to finish their season on a nice high. We're feeling good. We're winning a goal.
Yeah, it's sort of jumped up at us.
And it's amazing. You are still playing against AFL footballers who are supremely talented. They might not be having as good a season as you, but if you give them some confidence and they start feeling good and sniff a victory, they are flying across the ground.
Margin back to 11, as Ben said. The Demons on top from the restart bank in the middle. Nick Dacos spun around, got a hand pass away. DeGoey chooses to punch it to the wing, but Chandler's the first one there for the D's. Kicks to half forward. Petty, the target with Frampton, and in the end spills it out of play, throwing half forward for the D's.
We were making comment earlier, Mick, how Melbourne's skills were letting themselves down. Now their skills are hitting the target because they're feeling great.
They're getting more of the ball in Collingwood. Yeah. But I know they did early, but they're using the ball now better. Maybe the ground has dried out a little bit. Tim, you can tell us that, but they just seem to be far more creative at the moment.
Suns lead the power by 2 in Adelaide. Second quarter action from the boundary throw-in. Petrarca with strength fends off one. Handball into the pocket. Turnover. And Perryman with a get-out-of-here kick. Up to the wing. Turner can't reel it in. Membry did well to keep his feet. Shoots a hand pass out to DeGoey. Heads down the wing, and Elliott takes the mark for Collingwood on the counter-attack.
Elliott wants to loop the handball to DeGoey. He's got it. He looks to the pocket. Lipinski's down there. Reels it in one-handed.
I need that.
Great mark. But Jordan DeGoey is the one for Collingwood who is threatening to just keep them going in this game and get them over the line. He's game-breaking play through the middle. He's covering the ground well for the first time this year, flying across the ground. Good mark, though. Great mark.
Pat Lipinski is getting the explanation from umpire Brendan Hosking that
would put you off a bit, this, because it makes them run straight against their natural, just that little bit of a step around.
Tight angle, 25 out, his drop punt is left, and he was rattled by the umpire there, wasn't he, Mick?
Well, it don't get you. You've got to do what Franklin says. No, my natural thing is I've got a curve, and I'm going to run the curve, and the umpires go, oh, okay, buddy, you can do that.
In that instance when the siren sounds, so imagine a straight line from the middle of the goal through the man on the mark, continuing on.
You don't have to do it.
You can't go.
You can't go out it, but you can stay in it.
Stay inside it.
So when you actually kick, when you kick the football, as long as you're on that line.
Yep. You can't be better. You can't be on a better angle.
Can't be better. No.
But I think he got a little bit confused there. Did Lipinski, or a little bit unnerved anyway.
He might have been one of the guys Mick was talking about that left him in the locker and
he needs to unzip it.
The goal kickers, Bailey Fritsch with 3, Pickett with 2, as well as Melksham, who has a couple. Van Rooyen, Langford and Petty with singles for the Pies. De Goey, Maynard, Elliott, Schultz, Sidebottom, Crisp and Myercheck. All individual goal kickers. The D's by 10 points at the final change.
Damien Hardwick in Adelaide just sitting in the Mick Malthouse position. He's got the arms crossed, sitting in the box, just watching on. His team's in front, though, so Suns by 8 points over Port Adelaide.
8 points.
7 minutes to go there before half-time. We'll take you there for the second half. Melbourne by 10 here over Collingwood. The thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling coming up next. Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
There are 3 warning levels across Australia: advice, watch and act, and emergency. To learn more, go to the ABC Emergency website and stay listening to your emergency broadcaster, ABC Radio.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Clean pick up from Melksham. Away to Pickett. Hand to foot. Snaps on goal. Bends it through.
Wow.
The Wizard of Cos.
Back to Oliver. Demons get it out the middle. He was taken high and all that. Advantage applied. Everyone stopped. So Langford off a step, kicks goal, but he's got the trip. It's a fair kick. Oh, the kid's good. And Langford makes it a 1-point game.
Langdon tumbles it inside 50. Right onto the chest of Petty. Petty wants to move it on quickly, looking for Fridge. Got him.
The alarm bell start going off in the Collingwood coach's box.
Oh, about 6 minutes ago.
Bailey Fritsch. He's got it. Fritsch goals, swings the lead. And Collingwood on the Fritz. Bailey Fritsch, the only multiple goal kicker in the game, eyeing a third and extending this Melbourne lead into double figures. 150 stoppage for the Pies. Neither ruck decisive. Bowie coming through. Wrenched off it by Crisp. Holding the ball. Crisp's drop punt is pure. Oliver looks for Fridge. Half-forward flank. He can turn and look inside 50. Dabs it for Melksham. Slides into mark. His drop punt is good. And Melksham restores an 11-point Demons lead.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Demons by 10 at three-quarter time ahead of Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Just keeping a close eye on Beau McCreary there, Corbin. Twice he went down to the rooms during that term for a left foot injury. He had a mini fitness test out on the 50-metre line during the three-quarter time break. He doesn't look anywhere near 100% comfortable, but I think they're just going to have to roll the dice and get him back out there in this final term. I mean, Mick, is this one where if you're Craig McRae, you might give them a decent-sized bake, because this is very much maybe their season riding on what happens in the next 30 minutes. Like, there's no point them losing today. This has to be a win to give them a shot at finishing in that top 4.
Well, yeah, but you'd be targeting certain areas. There's no question about that, Tim. You've got to identify. You can't just give everyone a bake, because there's a few blokes out there probably like you've got De Goey's already maybe, illustrating what De Goey's done from so far. The other bloke who's done, I know he's only kicked the one goal, but Elliott's been fantastic in the forward line. He just hasn't been able to be close enough to kick more goals. But
so what area needs attention?
Well, they're not running. They're simply not running the football, and
it's in the middle of the ground right now.
Yeah, that's right. They've just been smashed in the 20-10 inside the 50s, and that's coming from the middle. And the clearances. Let me see what the clearances are. That's a 10-5. So you got 10-5.
Yeah.
And they're getting smashed there. But when they get the ball in the half-back line, they are just so hesitant to run the football. And when they have, De Goey's been on the end of it, got it to Elliott, and they've had their shot and goal.
And just to repeat, Mick just said 10 to 20 inside 50s in a quarter of footy. Melbourne had 20 inside 50s and kicked 5 goals too.
Yeah.
It is a complete reversal of the way we thought the game was going to continue on going. And
it's still only 30%, like 7 out of 20. But if you get in there enough, I'll go 30% every day of the week if you get in there 20 times.
But if they go another 20 times in this quarter, the game's over. So the challenge does go on to those key Collingwood midfielders, and Jordan De Goey's heading in there. I thought he has been really good tonight. Josh Dacos is starting in the middle. He's probably the one you could put a little bit on. He only had 4 disposals in that quarter there.
I reckon he's getting tagged in the forward line.
Yeah, 0 clearances as well. So maybe just a little bit on him and say, come on, Josh, you're one of our absolute A-graders. Let's get this going a little bit from the middle of the ground.
Yeah, well, look, that's a good move. It's probably half a quarter late. because he has demonstrated he can get a lot of football in the middle, Josh Dacos, because he doesn't take any notice of anyone else. And this quarter, he can't afford to.
So on the live ladder, Collingwood currently 5th. They could be as low as 8th by the end of the weekend. They must be winning this, even if it's not for top 4 and they get ousted by percentage. Top 6 will at least give you a home final in week 1. So huge quarter of footy coming up, the last of Melbourne's season. They lead it by 10 points.
Gone beautifully down for Oliver. He tumbles onto the footy in the end, gives it to Rivers. The D's out of the middle again. Kicks up to half forward. Moore spoils it away. Repels for the Pies. Free kick. Melksham's kick.
Got to go quick entry.
He doesn't.
Before they get back. Now they're back. Darcy Moore's the one. He's got back in the hole.
He's got to go lateral. Look, who do you have clear there? You had Rivers clear.
Unless Melksham's saying with a little bit of a late run around,
I think
he can get the journey.
Yeah.
I reckon McCreary's going to get him.
He's reset the man on the mark here. He's put him back another metre or so.
This will be the real late run around. Kick from probably 52.
In he comes straight. Veers out at the last minute and sends it to the opposite pocket. Up they go. Sparrow very nearly. Comes down. Crisp rushes a kick. Goes 3 metres. Sparrow goes again. D's ball. Half forward flank. Langdon to Fritsch. Screws a kick back towards the hot spot. And guess who? Mr. Dependable. Scott Pendlebury marks at fullback for the Pies.
They got the overlap on this side, the Pies too. So they go quick.
Goes back to Frampton. Frampton running out of defence. Kicks for Moore, who takes the mark and keeps on moving. Off go the Magpies down the wing. Hand pass to McCreary. Kicks into an open forward 50. Elliott one out in the cage. Punched away by May and out of bounds. Wins that battle. Meanwhile, Gold Coast by 15 points now over Port Adelaide. So live ladder check. Hawthorn 4th. Gold Coast 5th, Collingwood 6th on the live ladder as it sits at the moment. And, of course, teams below them in the Giants, the Dockers and the Bulldogs all still to play this weekend. So Collingwood need this final term. 10 points Melbourne's lead. 2 minutes gone, final quarter.
Gawn and Cameron. Gawn slapping it down. Rushing a kick there as McVie turns over. Turnover. Mark taken by Nick Dacos. High half forward for the Pies. Sets it up towards full forward. Punched away. McStay waiting in the goal square. Kick smothered. Salem rushes it into the post. Umpire says it hasn't touched it yet. Eventually it's rushed through.
Oh my God. That is the comedy of errors. You've never seen anything like it. Melbourne have hand kicked that. No, McStay can't take a trick. It's lobbed in his. I think he's had a heart attack in the goal square.
Sing the Benny Hill music, Mick.
Yeah.
Melbourne by 9 points. Have you...
McStay goalless in 4 of his last 6. He's goalless again tonight. That would make it 5 in 7. And Craig McRae put it on the table, on the agenda this week in his midweek press conference, saying, look, we're considering Mason Cox. They decided to back him in. They didn't get the response, or they haven't so far, as Viney on the wing gives it to Petrarca. Here go the Demons again. Handball away to Langdon. Handball over to Rivers. Kicks laterally across the half-forward line to Sparrow. Kicks it deeper inside 50. Petrarca.
It was well orchestrated by Melbourne. They couldn't go deep because they couldn't get the 55 metres because Collingwood had 2 players back. So they had to set it up haphazardly, if you like, but control the ball. They didn't let the ball hit the deck.
Oh, this is a huge kick, isn't it, for the game? This will take it out to 15 points, and they will really be believing Melbourne. They've got so much more composure with ball in hand. They're feeling confident.
Well, look, he's a class player. He should get it, Lee.
Yeah.
Christian Petrarca, he's right in front from 30 metres out. He slams it straight through. And the Demons have come to win. They are 15 points up, 4 minutes into the final term. And the Collingwood fans are chewing their fingernails back. 11-5-71. Collingwood 7-14-56. The margin is 15. And we came here tonight thinking we were seeing the final quarter of Melbourne's season. Maybe we're seeing the end of Collingwood's season on the same night in a different way. Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse on ABC Sport.
So, Mick, this is what confidence does to you when you just build that belief. So in the first half, one of those possessions for Melbourne in that build-up there would have been under the same amount of pressure. They would have just dumped it.
Yeah.
And it would have gone straight back to Collingwood, and then they counter-attack. Because they believe now, and they've got confidence, they're feeling good about themselves with ball in hand, there was composure the whole way. They didn't panic. Rivers in the end, just a little kick, Sparrow, little kick, and they get a shot at goal.
The goalie. bursting out of the middle here for the Pies, trying to ignite them. Kicks to full forward. May swats it away. McDonald onto the loose footy, tackled, just gets rid of it. Now to play and a throw in. 30 around from the attacking goal for the Pies.
So just repeating, there's no way, by the way, that Collingwood could miss September. They can finish as low as 8th on the table, but it's enough to get there, given the Bulldogs are a game behind the Dockers, and those two teams play each other, so the winner makes it, the loser misses.
Melbourne by 15 points. Gawn slapping it down. McVie just hacks it out of there, back into the middle of the MCG. Chandler slaps it on. Frampton now paddling for the Pies. Petty's got him, tackling him to ground. Umpire Williamson comes charging in, crosses himself and says, let me ball it up in the middle. D's by 15 points. 5 minutes into the fourth.
Up it goes. Cameron got a hand pass out, spills the way of Rivers, off go the Demons, handball away to Petrarca, kicks into the forward pocket, Fritsch the target over the head of he and Maynard and out of bounds. Meanwhile, half-time in Adelaide, a 15-point lead for the Gold Coast Suns over Port Adelaide. So one last half-time address for Ken Hinkley. His team playing catch-up there, the Suns on top by 15. For a long period now, these two games have mirrored each other in terms of the margin. It's 15 points again, Melbourne over Collingwood. We're 6 minutes, though, into the final term, so a little more urgent for the Magpies.
Forward 50 stoppage for the Demons, tapping it down Petty. No room to work there for Chandler. Secondary ball up. 30 out from Melbourne's attacking goal. Cameron hands to it. Ricochets back to Petty, wrapped up. These by 15. Umpire hurls it skyward again. Cameron takes it out of the ruck. Fashions a clearing kick. Sparrow drops the mark. Should have taken it. Good enough to recover. Now going in Salem. His kick smothered. Desperate from Schultz. Crisp. Hospital handball away to Myercheck. And he's tackled to ground in the middle of the G. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, but well done, though, by Turner. Straight onto him. You've got to press. If you're going to press hard, you've got to make sure you come at it and lock that ball in.
Gawn wins their hit out, but it spills down to DeGoey. Hand pass goes forward, straight to Rivers, though. Melbourne back with it. Handball looking for Oliver. Just comes it out to Salem.
Oh, surely.
Dumped in the tackle. Ball comes back to
Collingwood.
Big V. Ball spills to Goey and Collingwood out the front. McCreary to Lipinski. Now to Pendlebury. The smooth mover just settles back on the kick and finds Schultz.
Yeah, that was all duck. No dinner there. Melbourne had everyone forward and not one player back behind the line, and gave the ball up, and Collingwood were able to manufacture.
That was the famous Ed Langdon line. They referred to Collingwood as all duck, no dinner in their premiership year. Fortune favours the brave here. With numbers forward, who'd have thought it? After kicking the last three into the break at half-time, Collingwood playing catch-up.
Oh, yeah.
Schultz wildly misses in the end. He's lucky to score. Just sneaks through for a behind. The margin's 14. Collingwood have it all to do. 8-minute mark final term. Melbourne by 14 points. And the Pies' top 4 chances and even top 6 chances are looking like they're going up in smoke.
May goes right up the middle. Gawn with hands on it. Doesn't complete the mark. Now he's scrapping at ground level over his opposing ruck, Cameron.
With all those interstate teams in the mix too, that you could be in Sydney. If Fremantle beat the Bulldogs, you might be in Perth. All of a sudden, you're in the lap of the gods if you finish 8th.
Cameron slaps it out. Howes goes to make it his. He can only slap it to Sparrow. D's ball. Oliver back to Sparrow, straight up and down. Right in the bullseye. Chris punches it away. Nick Dacos turns it over. Demons ball through Sparrow again. High ball to half forward. Melksham punches it down. Quaynor arrives. Eyes at centre half back.
Sorry, Benny, they had 4 players back and not one Melbourne player, so bad set-up again by the D's.
And they haven't defended this well either, Mick.
Canterbury short to Houston, kicks into the centre corridor, finds Quaynor long, kick to the wing. Here's side bottom, he marks, he looks inside the forward 50, kick goes out too wide. Had 2 options out there, Steele and Elliott, and in the end he puts it out on the full, the veteran.
So I reckon Melbourne are just going back a little defensive, Mick. I reckon they're trying to pull a number around rather than keeping... Because they're not chasing anymore. They're trying to keep their lead.
Yeah. They've had 1 goal in the quarter, which is 9 minutes old. Melbourne share it in the back 50, and now May long down the line. Over the top comes Langford trying to pick it from Perryman, and the mark will be paid.
Geez, been good tonight.
Langford, a raking left footer, gives it to Pickett. Good idea that. Short to Fritsch. Look at Cozzy, keep on moving. Receives it back, kick smothered. Nice work, Quaynor wins it back. Hand pass away to Maynard under pressure. Handball goes out of bounds.
That's okay, though. Okay, it was a little smother, a little mistake because he was still trying to keep the game moving. Melbourne, there's not enough time and they're not skillful enough to hold on for 13 minutes.
No.
Still got to be prepared to play and take it on. And we saw in the third quarter, they're getting in behind Collingwood. They kick another goal. That's when they can go and protect a little bit more.
Melbourne by 14 points. They've kicked 6 goals to 1 after half-time. Long sockers it forward for the Pies towards the logo. Viney crushes in. Nick Dacos the same.
It's free kick.
A whistle somewhere.
Oh, it's 50.
Go the way that is at 50.
Amazing. I thought it was Dacos' free kick, Benny.
Well, he thought so too. He kicked it inside 50. And the umpire says no, it was going the way of the D, so that'll be 50. And Viney marched up to 55 out. Viney sets it up towards the hot spot. Can they find a marker? Cully floats across.
Oh, he might be hurt here, though.
Yeah, he hasn't moved. Jai Cully, now he's rolling around, which is a good sign as the Pies clear the defensive arc.
That was an awful landing, though. It's so good to see him on his feet.
He's holding his head as he gets back up. Collingwood trying to make something happen off the back flank. Crisp to Houston. Hand pass to Elliott. Now kicks up over halfway. Lipinski takes the mark. Nick Dacos running by. Lipinski goes himself. Kicks it deep inside 50. Membry runs underneath it. Ball slides at the back. McCreary hunting it. Runs out of room. Out of play next to the behind post. Margin is 14 Melbourne's way. 12 minutes gone. Final term. Australia all out 193. So Josh Inglis top score with 87. That was in response to 277. So South Africa win the series at the earliest possible stage. Lungi Ngidi with a fifer, the man of the match. And the boundary throw-in. Tackled out of bounds, trying to scoop up the ball. Van Rooyen, and it's out of play. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Yeah, just interested. The doctor was with Cully, and then the physio watched it on the TV and went out and said, you have to come off. So I would expect a HIA as well as maybe a chiropractor's required for that neck on that landing. Was awkward.
Melbourne by 14 points. Time becoming an enemy for the Pies again. Van Rooyen taps it down. Nick Dacos flicks it off to McStay. Then Perryman to side bottom, to Long, deep in the pocket, hooks it back, gets the climb bounce. Is that the fire starter for the Pies? Back to 8 points. 12 and a half into the fourth. 11-5-71 Melbourne, Collingwood 8-15-63. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Something out of nothing, Nick.
It was. Yeah, they've been struggling to kick goals, and to get one over the back like that, he's been persistent. I'm just trying to get his overall stats. Long, he wasn't great last week.
Had the 17,
90% efficiency, which is quite high. In fact, efficiency level overall is not too bad on a night like this. But they needed that one, the Pies. That'll give them a sense now that they know that they can win it. Before, I just had this feeling they thought we can't, but Melbourne are giving us an opportunity because they're not taking it. So this has gone back into the Collingwood, right back into their psyche over there.
And last 5-6 minutes, it's the Collingwood way of playing. The momentum is with them now.
High stakes for the Pies in the context of their season. Playing for a top 4 spot. McStay trying to come away with it out the middle. There's a free kick. In all of that, I think it's going against Collingwood here. And it is coming back to Rivers, who was dumped in all of that. Rivers free kick. Melbourne to take it, middle of the ground. 8 points their advantage. Short kick finds Oliver. Flares it out wide to Salem, who hits the ground running. Collects. Long kick towards full forward. Pickett front and centre where he should be. Houston watches it tumble through for a behind.
Collingwood will go quick from here. Light them up through the middle if they can.
Melbourne by 9, midway through the final term.
Long kick in for Quaynor, who hits the ground running off the back flank. Releases Crisp. Kicks around the worn wing. Elliott at the back. Ball skids out the back towards half forward. Tumbles to the boundary line. Keeping it in. Cleverly. Rome steal. Elliott bundled out. The Demons have the numbers. Bowie. Hooks it around towards Sparrow, to Oliver. Now Rivers kicking around the wing. Van Rooyen low down marks.
He can't go quick now. That's the right option inboard.
Finds Petrarca, marks on the logo, continues the forward thrust for Melbourne, out to Chandler. He's got it at half forward, hand pass to Rivers. Rivers running, long kick, Goldwood, he's offline.
Very ordinary Rivers. He had targets, Cozzy kick it, he had
Maxi Gawn, long two, and now
here they
Collingwood
go
out.
again. Yeah.
Melbourne by 10.
Here go the Pies up the middle. Long kick in. Maynard to Frampton. He goes to half forward. McCreary using his wheels. Breaks the arc. Centering kick. Good for Elliott. The MCG is hopping. And that foot looks all right at the moment for McCreary.
Yeah, but rewind back. It's Rivers' choice with what he did, and then zero defence laid him behind.
Shocking.
Rivers shot a goal, and Collingwood had the awareness to go straight away from the kick
they
out.
have to.
Yep, coast to coast.
Jamie Elliott curls it through. A couple for Jamie Elliott, and Collingwood won't lay down. It's back to 4 points. 11-7-73, plays 9-15-69. Quarter hour mark in the fourth. Tim Hodges before Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
Yeah, just very briefly, Benny, Harry Sharp is into this game and he's onto the ground right now. He's been injected in. Jai Cully has been taken to the rooms for a HIA after that horror landing. So clearly the Demons just don't have time, so they've put Sharp in.
This is where, for our listeners, let me just say that there will be a difference between hunger, nothing else will determine the result now. It's whether Melbourne go, well, we're going to finish, we are currently 14th, we'll finish 14th, and Collingwood will say, no, we want to play finals in the top four, not the bottom four of the top. So this is what happens.
High stakes for the Pies. Petrarca out of the middle, kicks down to half forward, his team up by 4, pack forms and a ball up.
It's how much Gawn, Viney and these sort of players can drive the young players, saying well, it is worth playing.
The D's want to go out a winner here in season 2025. Langford from the stoppage, handball away to Petrarca, just walks around to Goey from a high half forward, kids to the top of the goal square, they come from all directions, hits the deck, Pickett left it behind, Langdon got it, hands it out to Van Rooyen who shoots Goldwood and misses. Yep. And now it's Melbourne with all the behinds.
And look how Collingwood are trying to get the ball back into play quickly, because I know they'll catch Melbourne out.
Melbourne by 5 now. Their last 3 scoring shots all behinds the Demons. 17 gone final term. Melbourne by 5 points.
Pendlebury with the kick in. Steps around Pickett.
Great play.
Darts it short to the Goey. Straight up the pipe. Kicks for Schultz. Bowie there with him. Schultz too good. Now he'll veer out to his right. Send it deep. Inside 50. And Turner can only punch it away towards the pocket. Ball tumbles out. Throwing coming right forward pocket. Melbourne by 5 points. They are white-knuckling at the moment.
Unfortunately, that's a 37-game player, just in the moment.
Takes the mark.
Yeah, just need to take the mark there, but it is
Darcy
easy.
Moore, someone takes the mark, settles it up and drives the ball back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Melbourne by 5. Boundary throw in deep forward for Collingwood. Gawn gets a first hand on it. Spills in the direction of McStay. Hand pass back into the rubble. Socket out of there by McVie. Pendlebury draws the defender. Hands it to Schultz. Hit it skinny. Didn't get it there. And May takes the intercept mark at full back for Melbourne. So Melbourne by 5. 18 and a half gone final term. Collingwood playing for top 4. At the very least top 6 in a home elimination final. They lose this, they could finish as low as 8th. May trying to exit defensive 50, turns it over. Side bottom, puts it back inside 50 and Schultz. Marks in the corridor, 30 metres out.
That's a horrible kick from Stephen May.
Oh, and you say about experience, you know, waving it off, I've just had a pull. You just cannot make those mistakes as a senior player with so much at stake.
Max Gawn didn't run over to him and tell him it was a bad kick.
No, exactly.
Should have.
Well, he may well, if Schultz kicks it. See the fluctuations of that ladder, Corby.
Schultz to finish it off. It's good. And the Pies have pulled it out the fire. Collingwood by a point. 20 minutes gone in the final term. Magpies lead again. 10-15 to 11-8. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse, and all of a sudden up go the Magpies. They find themselves on the live ladder, Nick, now in third spot.
Well, I wonder if this shifts Melbourne back to the way that they should have been playing and actually still being prepared to take the game on. They have to chase now. That's why they got themselves in the position originally. Go back to taking the game on, not this...
Well, Stephen May, with 8.5 minutes left, I thought he must have thought it was 8 seconds left because that was his first play. Then the second play was that kick. You know, like reality was. It's no coincidence why Melbourne are 14th at the moment.
Fourth lead change of the match. Underway again in the middle. Rivers fighting through a tackle. Umpire lets him still go. Handball to Oliver, to Salem. Salem looks inside 50. Pickett on the lead. He's got it. 48 out. Tight angle to the left.
Superb kick by Salem. Great mark by Pickett. He'll have the distance.
He'll go around. But you know what? There's not one Collingwood player. McCready maybe has got the chance to get to him, but the Melbourne players make a mistake walking away. Melbourne aren't thinking about this game. I can tell you now, they're going to leave Pickett to try to kick the goal from here as opposed to next to Quaino.
He gets into his little canter, puts his laces through it from 50. It's a little narrow.
Oh, we haven't worked out what a draw does, Benny.
Yeah, put that in your ladder predictor, Corby. Evens, Stevens. 21 and a half minutes into the fourth term. Collingwood playing for a home final.
As it stands at the moment, it'll have the Magpies in third spot into half a game. But obviously a bunch of teams still to play this weekend as Josh Dacos off the back flank, kicks long to the wing, advantage applied. Here go the Magpies again. McCreary at high half forward, hands it to Lipinski, kicks for Elliott, gets there on the bounce, shoots a hand pass deeper forward. McCreary still tracking it, can't reel it in. Spills to Langford at half back for the Demons. All sharp, coughed it up under pressure. Goes back, tackles to Goey, but he got it out. To Goey to McCreary. The kick goalward. The kick's a goal.
No, 1 point. Corbs.
No, it's not.
The crowd went up like it was a goal.
The kick is a behind. It fooled more than just me. A minor score. It's good enough to give Collingwood the lead. So a 1 point advantage for the Pies. 22 gone final term. Collingwood with positioning in the 8 on the line.
Let's not forget, they won by a point on King's birthday. Kick from Bowie to the wing. Pendlebury intercepts. Pies go forward again off the left boot of Pendlebury. Off to Roan Steele. Kicks to the pocket. McStay. He's got it.
This could win it. This could get him in the top 4. He's kicked what'll be his first goal in what?
He's kicked, I think, 2 goals in 6 weeks. Or 7 weeks, including this.
Melbourne have been quite horrible the last 10 minutes. Really, this is why they're 14th.
I'm glad you said it, Nick. I was thinking it.
You know, it's just their ball use, their panic, their indecision, manning up, everything. It's horrible.
20 out, slight angle. It doesn't have to be your night, but it can be your moment. McStay makes it his. Collingwood by 7 points. 11-16-82. Plays 11-9-75. 23 and a half into the fourth. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
Well, you're right. So Melbourne, even just defensively, Mick, that last passage of play there, allowed Collingwood players to get forward of the ball. They had options everywhere. In the end, they chose McStay, and a good grab because it was a contest there, but Collingwood have been able to get out. They've been prepared to use the ball fast because they were chasing, and Melbourne have not defended it well at all. So now we've got a different situation for Collingwood to face. They're no longer chasing. They've got the 7-point buffer. We'll see how Collingwood handles this and whether or not Melbourne just try and throw one last little thing at them. They've got Petrarca in the middle.
They've got horrible centre line. It's slow as.
They've got all summer to think about it, the Demons. Their last 5 minutes of the year. Collingwood playing for a top 4 spot. Free kick in the middle. Petrarca held without it. So Melbourne ball, middle of the ground, down by 7 points. Demons chasing the game. Petrarca inside 50. Moore punches it away. Nick Dacos leaps up, grabs it. Centre half back, wrestled from him by Viney. Handball away to Chandler. He gives it to Oliver. Tackled by Pendlebury, holding the ball.
Pendlebury's been big in the last 10 minutes.
Smart.
Yeah.
And knows what's at stake. And look at the choice of kicks, though, and now Melbourne are right off their players. It's almost like we've had enough, we've done well.
7 points the margin. Collingwood with it. They go laterally across the ground, more to side bottom. So tick, 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 tick. Final 5 minutes. We are on the clock here. Collingwood playing for a top 4 spot. And for Melbourne, they are playing out the last 5 minutes of their season. 25 gone, final turn.
Houston sends his kick along the edge of the square. Bowie breaks it up. Somehow Schultz steals it like a thief in the night. High kick into the pocket. May outpoints Elliott to mark.
So even there, Stephen May, he was totally clear when he took the mark and elected to go behind the man in the mark who was on the ground.
Demons have it in their back pocket as May moves it on towards Howes, who gives it back to May, moves it to Langford on the wing. Raking left leg up towards half forward. Van Rooyen plucks it. Moves it on with the handball to Fritsch, who runs into a cul-de-sac. Gets rid of it to Chandler. D's half forward. Swings it to Petty. Petty can move it on by hand. Petrarca, sweeping handball. Sharp takes it. He's tackled to ground. Strong tackle. The Pies get back to hold up. And they lead by 7.
From the ruckman, Darcy Cameron.
That's a great tackle because that could have easily been around the neck, legs, anything. And he got him at the right time.
And we're worried about Sharp's back of his head here, slapping off the deck as he hit the ground. And so Sharp a little dazed. Cameron picks himself up. I saw a free kick earlier. Was it Pickett and Quaynor where there was probably more care in that instance as there was there. The full-blooded tackle. Collingwood third on the live ladder. They lead by 7, 26 and a half gone, final term. Ball up, full forward for Melbourne. Cameron palms it down. Nick Dacos had it, lost it. Petrarca with strength. Shoots goalward but misses.
So now,
makes it a one-score game. Collingwood by 6.
Now Melbourne have got to defend every single little exit. Try and get a quick turnover here. You've got the point. Get you within 6. Try and pick off this kick. Don't let them have an easy transition to the wing.
Who's got the ball? Pendlebury. He was smart with it.
The experienced Pendlebury. Exiting kick in the Gawn direction. Gawn can't take the mark. Langford gathers. Half forward off the Fritsch to Gawn again. Rushes his kick. Out on the full. The same pocket. The same pocket as King's birthday.
Goes, put the tape straight onto Stephen May.
But that's okay. They can lock it in here. Oh, they can't let that kick happen.
A little sideboard. Easy. Sideboard, we get this.
Frampton gives it to Houston. He goes long, straight down the pipe. Elliott the target. Rivers went early. Elliott marks. Back edge of the centre square. He's going to go laterally with the kick. Collingwood by 6. 27 and a half gone, final term. And the kick out wide finds Maynard. And his brother played for the Demons. Of course, a central figure in that final back in 2023. En route to the premiership. Short to Nick Dacos. 2 minutes 40 to go. Nick Dacos long down the line. In the box seat, Turner, no mark, spills down towards side bottom at high half forward. Kicks into an open forward 50. Chase on by check back peddling. Langford will get there first. Melbourne scoop it up back pocket. Langford kicks long to the wing.
Looking for Petrarca. Perryman's there. Petrarca halves it. Swats it out and a throw in on the wing.
Well done by Petrarca.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to mark it, but he made to make sure Collingwood couldn't mark it.
Last changes here. Ned Long sprinting to get off for De Goey to get back on with the game on the line.
Collingwood.
De Goey will drift to this stoppage with no one near him.
Collingwood by 6 points. Gone out of the ruck. Handball to Pickett. He releases Langford running down the members' wing. Kicks to half forward looking for Petty. Moore punches it away. Loose footy. Chandler onto it for the D's. Hooks his kick back. Can they find a marker? Turner goes up, doesn't mark. Petty slaps it out. Langdon snaps. Swings it on goal. It won't get there. It will drift out on the full. Pies in their back pocket. That might have been the moment.
Can't even get the handy point.
That was the moment.
Maynard kicks to half-back for Crisp, who marks Collingwood by 6. They're third on the live ladder. As it stands at the moment, Collingwood by 6 points, final 2 minutes. The AFL's Iron Man, Jack Crisp, down the wing, and Sparrow picks it off. They're going to get another look here, Melbourne. Crowded forward 50. Sparrow, long inside 50. 15 metres out from goal. Moore punches it away. Pickett grabs it. Quainor's got him. And Isaac Quainor making sure Cozzy on the move wouldn't escape him.
Good by Quainor, wasn't it?
Well, good by both. How Pickett hit that hard. And a free kick there.
Up it goes. Cameron hooking it down. Pickett trying to milk a free kick. Gets rid of it. Nick Dacos sweeps a handball clear for the Pies. Myercheck goes in. McDonald too. Arc of 50 here for the D's. And it's not coming out just yet.
Collingwood have lost 4 of their last 5 games decided by a kick or less. So they've lost 4 of their last 5 after that great run in 2023.
They lead by 6 here. Cameron slapping it down. Oliver gathers it, but tackled out by Josh Dacos. Oliver helps him up. Throw in 60 out from the attacking goal here for the Pies.
The Collingwood fans coming tonight thinking, a big percentage boost would be great. Fend off a few of these other teams, hoping for a top 4 spot.
May's gone from full back to full forward for a Hail Mary, I reckon.
Membry drops back to deep in defence for Collingwood. Boundary throw in, half forward for Melbourne. Fresh air shot from Oliver in the tackle. Nick hands it to brother Josh. A kick for touch, tumbles down the wing. It'll be insufficient intent. Melbourne ball, 48 seconds to go. Collingwood lead by 6. And Melbourne have the footy.
McDonald kicks up towards half forward. Sparrow and Chris. Pickett roves. Snaps inside 50. Bouncing ball for the D's. Lots of Pies around it. 20 out from their goal. Maynard makes it his. Away to Cameron. And a clearing kick. Pickett's there. So too Chris. Chris marks it. And Collingwood, they might have done enough. Chris will retreat. He goes back to Quainor. Quainor on the back flank. He skips back. Sand slips through the hourglass. Quainor kicks up to the wing. Off the hands of the pack, McDonald. He gets rid of it to Petrarca. Petrarca away to Sparrow. Met there by Schultz. A Collingwood comeback sees them in the 4 for now. Possession is 9/10 of the law. They win by a kick.
They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
So they were down by 15 early in the 4th. They kicked the last 4 goals of the game to run over Melbourne and win by 6 points. The goal kickers, 2 to Elliott, 2 to Schultz, then it's singles to Goey, Maynard, McStay, side bottom, Chris, Myercheck and Long, while for the D's, 3 to Fritsch, 2 to Melksham, 2 to Pickett, singles to Petty, Langford, Petrarca and Van Rooyen. How big a blow will Jeremy Howe be with that groin injury? And the foot to Beau McCreary. The Pies by 6.
They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
I don't know if they're striding into September, but they'll be there in the spring, the Magpies, and in all likelihood they will have a home final at some stage. As the end of the season is reached, the end of the regular season, Collingwood 16-7 on the year, the first team to qualify for the finals, and yet they won't be qualifying in top spot. They finished with 64 premiership points and a percentage of 122.4. So 122.4. There are still 5 teams that can get to 64 points or better. And it means they'll be sweating on not just the outcome of some of those other games, but also the margins to determine exactly where they finish. For now, as Ben said, they find themselves in third spot on the table with that victory tonight. They had to pull it out of the fire, as Ben said, 15 down, and Collingwood ultimately kicking the last 4 goals of the game. Initial thoughts, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
1 goal 5 in the last quarter to the Demons, just to add that as well. So
they had a couple of chances too, Ling. That shot by, I think, Petrarca was a snap that went missed.
Yeah, I reckon Van Rooyen had a snap that missed. And
inside 50s that last quarter were 14 each. So you get a 4 goal. So same number of shots, or no, 6 to 5 shots.
So just on that, Mick, last 5 scoring shots for Melbourne.
Points.
All behind.
Yeah. To me, once Collingwood said, we're going to attack, it needed Melbourne to play the same role that they've been playing, turn one of those really extravagant runs, turn it around, kick a goal, and it puts it. But they went back into a shell and allowed Collingwood, on probably 3 of those 5 kicks, probably 4 of them ended up beyond the centre.
Yep.
And to Collingwood players streaming into their forward line. So lack of awareness, one, by Melbourne, lack of defence, two, and then I still reckon it's a bit of hunger. You know, one's playing for a lot, one's playing for not a lot.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's definitely fair. And Collingwood played their best football when they became really urgent, aggressive with the way they were playing. And it's certainly the type of footy that put them on top of the ladder. It's the type of footy that won them a premiership a couple of years ago, and it's them at their most dangerous. What we've always said, even during that time, even when they won their premiership, was if you could get through that wave back the other way, you could score
against them. They're very aggressive. That's right, exactly.
They are, but they were so good at it that ultimately it led to a premiership, and they were outstanding at it. So Melbourne needed to be prepared to still be aggressive themselves. That's the way they got their lead. They played a great third quarter, but instead they went pretty reserved, and then it became disorganised and disjointed. So Collingwood were able to pick them apart. Terrific response by the Pies. Yeah, I don't think Craig McRae would think they're going into finals in superb form, but the way they played late in the game just gives them a little upward swing. And hey, guys, don't forget, when we play like this and we frantically defend and scrap right across the ground, and then when we get a turnover, we go flying back through them the other way. This is the football we are capable of.
And he is one player that just massively takes them through. That's to go through the middle.
Ended up with 26 disposals, 6 clearances, but also 6 inside 50s and a goal. So that's
and nearly 500 metres too. Yeah. You know, he carries the ball so far. I mean, it's okay to kick the ball 20 metres, but if you carry the ball 20 metres, you're doing a bit of damage to the opposition. What do? They come at you. You know, you set them up.
I thought he was their best player on the ground.
So do I.
For the whole game. I know, probably giving away a little hint at the votes a bit later on, Corbs, but De Goey looked sharp. The first time he's looked super sharp, ground level, bursting away from midfield stoppages, but then threatening forward. As good as he's looked in a while.
It's just about the best thing to take out of it from a Collingwood point of view, wasn't it? Was how De Goey looked. And talking about genuine match winners in the spring, he's one of those.
And I reckon Elliott looked good too, Mick. Jamie Elliott.
I said that three-quarter time. I thought he and De Goey were the ones that probably were. Because I think it was Tim said, would you give him a break? Well, you don't give players a break who are going well. You've got to pick your mark. And so I thought Elliott was very good all day, found space. De Goey was instrumental in that breakaway. Pendlebury sets it up, cool man, just make sure his decision-making is just outstanding. And I thought in the end, their backline actually held up. I thought Quaynor was, because I didn't see Pickett. Pickett had to invent a massive goal and almost got through, but Quaynor, he's a good player, Quaynor. Really.
So the all-important question, Mick and Lingy, are the Pies a threat come September, and to what extent?
I will always believe they're a threat because they're proven 2 years ago, and then, the first half of the year form. I get it lately, but it just still sits pretty clear in my memory that this is a good football team when they're sharp and on, as Tim Memory has a nice moment with his new club getting chaired off the ground by a couple of his teammates, Darcy Cameron and I can't see who the other one is. Billy Frampton.
I tell you what, they can't do without Cameron. I thought Gordon was outstanding, but Cameron into the final series, and I think McStay has done enough to say I'm going to be the second ruck, not Mason Cox.
Yep.
It's whether they carry, in all honesty, Memory into the side. I'm just not sure they've got. I know that Hoskin Elliott sort of finished, but Memory's. He gets 2 or 3 kicks and may kick 2 or 3 goals, but he may not also. And I think with Elliott a marking player, they may be better off with another medium. I mean, if Bobby Hill can get back,
sure.
I don't know whether he'll get back. I mean, look.
I think he's played 1 quarter of footy since round 15 or something.
Yeah.
More from Mick and Lingy on the Magpies in just a moment. Melbourne's season comes to an end. Collingwood by 6 points. Into a happy Collingwood rooms, I assume. They're third on the ladder as it sits at the moment. Tim Hodges. Hodgie.
I think it's a relieved rooms as Braden Maynard walks straight past me into the rooms. They'll sing the song for the 16th time. It's still no guarantee to get them in the top 4. Amazingly, Sydney finished on top of the ladder last year with 16 wins. So they're probably unlucky, but just goes to show the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah, exactly. Horrible.
Tim Membry in his milestone game comes in with his little girl. He will be the last Magpie to join arm in arm with his daughter. And for the 16th time this year, Collingwood will sing the song and then be headed for September. Mick, I put the request in for one of your old boys, Steele Sidebottom or Scott Pendlebury, after their heroics in the last quarter, leading the way. I'll see which one they give us. Hopefully one of them. And hopefully I'll have a Magpie very soon for you.
No worries, Timmy.
Thanks, Hodgie. We'll stick around for that, and then we're off to Adelaide. Game on there. So Gold Coast by 7 points over Port Adelaide. Trying to go out a winner, the home team, to salute Travis Boak in his 387th and final game. And, of course, Ken Hinkley, after 13 seasons at the helm. He'll have one last three-quarter time address coming up shortly with that game live. We'll take you there in a few moments after we've heard from the Magpies and the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. We'll talk more about it across the weekend. We're both on Saturday and Sunday. So, Lingy, you're on 12 noon, of course, with Clinchy on AFL Sunday. And, Mick, you'll be with me as usual tomorrow. Justin Longmuir, our feature guest, ahead of the biggest game of the home and away season so far. We'll have a bit more of a chat, I'm sure, in depth there about Collingwood and even Melbourne. So I guess the question for them coming out of the 9, we'll hear more from the Magpies camp in a moment. Sum it up for us. Season in a nutshell. What is it for Melbourne? 7-16. They win 2 of their last 12 games. They end the season, of course, with a different coach than what they started.
And they could have been 2-0 against Collingwood.
Yeah.
Bad start a few weeks ago. Got back, got in front, been in front all third quarter, most of the last quarter, gave up. So sometimes you have to, instead of just looking at the scoreboard, you've got to say, well, what did we do to get to that stage? So where Melbourne are, basically, probably where they should be. They've been so reliant on so few. Maybe I'm not convinced about that old system. I don't think I ever have been.
So they're 14th on the table, and they're, in all likelihood, they'll finish there. It'll be their lowest finish since 2019.
Yeah.
That was the year after they made the preliminary final run and then went way down the bottom of the table, and obviously we know they bounced again thereafter, but lowest finish since 2019.
Yeah, and they've got to reload, and they have been doing it through Langford and Windsor and Lindsay and these sorts of ones, but given they've finished pretty near the bottom of the ladder, pick 6s, pick 7s, picks 11s, Tolstrups at pick 13. So they've reload. They'll do it again this year with access to some earlier talent. They then need their decision making will be around, Cobbs. Do we lose a couple of our marquee players and try and get a couple more picks in? Or can they be reignited, and can we get back, complemented with the young guys, back to somewhere near our best? I'm not sure about that one. Because the tricky thing for them is, do you want to be bottoming out in 3 years' time when Tasmania are entering the league, or do you want to take the little hit now together with your last couple of years of drafts and get all your draft picks now so that you're not as compromised by Tassie entering the league? So that's their important list management decisions they've got coming.
What way would you go?
Oh, I'd do it now.
Yep.
I just don't believe in their...
Which players, Lingy?
Well, who's getting value? So is Oliver, given that they're going to have to take on a huge contract in another club, so you're probably not getting a high pick for him?
No, you're not. And look, I didn't think he was that bad tonight, quite frankly. When I say not bad, I thought he was okay. But who's going to take him at that wage?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So you can't just go, it's Oliver, because if someone takes him at that wage, they're not going to give up big draft. They might give up a 5th-round pick. But if you don't have to... if Melbourne are going to pay some of the wage, you might give a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah. So I had Paul Guerra with us pre-game, the chief executive of the Demons, the incoming CEO. I asked him if he expects Christian Petrarca to be in a Melbourne jumper round 1 2026. Do you see Christian Petrarca running out round 1 2026 in a Melbourne jumper?
I hope so. All of those conversations, there'll be no speculation around what we're going to do in the draft or the trade until the new coach starts. We've given ourselves every opportunity to set the club up for the next decade. New coach is going to come in with a different style, a different game plan. We then need to map our list to that game plan and work out what players we need to target to bring in, and perhaps what players might need to look for new homes.
He said the plan is preliminary final week. They want to announce their next senior coach. So
Wow.
we're sitting here now, a penultimate week in August, and they want it done by the second last week in September.
Well, that makes sense, because they're not going to get someone from the top 8 who's currently there. So why not do, if you find your people who you want to interview them. But you don't have to wait till the end of the season, because there's no one in the 8 that's hanging on to go, oh, look, I'm not sure what we're going to do, because they're all contracted. So I get that. So we've got only one coach at the moment?
Just the one job?
Yeah, so you're not sort of going, oh, we've got to get him in front of someone else.
There is another job sitting there in the pipeline, though.
Yes.
Tasmanian.
Yeah, that's right. But
that's possibly taken 2, if not 3 names out of the current thing.
That's right.
Which would be Longmire, Simpson, Hinkley. Is that right? Hinkley's ruled himself out, hasn't he?
Yes. No, I don't know. He hasn't. No, he hasn't. He said. He said, I might.
I thought he had.
I reckon you're right a week ago. But just when you listen to his dialogue at the moment, he's got. I'm not finished. I'm ready to go again. So whether he's now been told, look, why don't you at least get interviewed? See, I think there's a reluctance of senior coaches who have got, and I'm not going to say this is an ego thing, but if they get a hint that they're not going to get it, they don't want to go through an interview.
Yeah.
They don't want to be seen to be failing.
Correct.
And I think that most of the time you should interview without people knowing. And then they feel, okay, if I miss out on the job and my name's not out there.
What advice would you give an assistant coach if they were going through the Melbourne process and they had those fears? Like if someone came to you and said,
if you're an assistant coach, you go for every interview you can, because it's all experience.
Yep.
It's a real valuable experience to think, okay, well, that club did it that way, this club did it that way. Was I prepared? What's my information that I can give across?
What's the number of jobs you can go for, though, before
you finish?
Before you become the one who...
Always misses.
They're always like, he must be something wrong with him.
Yeah, I get that. But I'm thinking of this year, you can't keep putting it in each year.
Yeah.
But I think that on a year, if there's 3 clubs here, go for everyone. If you miss out on the 3 of them, you miss out on the 3 of them. Look, no shame in missing out.
Well, that was, to a lesser extent, Uze and McQualter and Kingsley were almost in that bracket, weren't they? They went for a few before they eventually got the one that's...
And Stuart Jewell might have... Stewie might have got that job, because I remember I was on an interviewing panel for level 4, and those players you mentioned with Blake Carosella and a few, Brendan Lade and a few others, they're all ripping people. And
Justin Longmuir?
Yes, Justin was certainly there.
Yep. NRL tonight, Storm win, so jumped out of their blocks and have beaten the Bulldogs 20-14. The Raiders too good for the Panthers 20-16. I say too good, it was a crazy finish. Nathan Cleary had a field goal to try and win it, hit the upright, The Raiders returned it to the house. All the other end of the field was an amazing end to that game as they were able to prevail in dramatic fashion. In the cricket tonight, South Africa won the second ODI by 84 runs over the Aussies. 277 all-out South Africa. Australia all-out 193 inside 38 overs. So ahead of Game 3, which turns out to be a dead rubber on Sunday. You can hear it through the ABC Listen app. Look out for the white cricket ball button. But South Africa have already wrapped up that ODI series up in the... Up north in Australia, obviously, Game 2 today in Mackay after Game 1 was in Cairns on Tuesday. The other AFL game that's on right now is a draw currently between Port Adelaide and Gold Coast. We might do the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year ahead of a word from the Magpies camp. And after my forward promoting skills have been almost too good, I didn't realise there's actually no AFL Sunday this week.
I should have helped you out and remembered that I'm not doing that on Sunday because the game kicks off early on Sunday.
We're just used to it like clockwork. But Mick will be on tomorrow from 12 noon and Lingy the following week, of course, for AFL Sunday, usually from 12 noon. He's here now, though, and he's got the votes for you after Collingwood beat Melbourne by 6 points.
I do. Quirky little different votes for me this week. I'm just going to give some love to some people I just thought were valuable at big parts of the game, and maybe the stats don't fully back it up, but I don't really care. Harvey Langford, I'm going to give a vote to. 26 disposals and kicked a goal. I just thought he was the one who got Melbourne running and got them moving and had some great moments. Exciting young player. He broke them open a little bit. Yes, Petrarca probably had more of the footy and et cetera, but I love Langford's game, so he gets a vote. 2 votes is going to Jamie Elliott. Again, there's probably statistically better players, but I reckon Elliott was the biggest threat in that forward line. Kicks 2 goals too, but his movement and the way that he went at the ball, Stephen May had to take him. Yep. So the big All-Australian fullback had to play on Elliott, which obviously allows an avenue for others. So I'm going to give 2 to Jamie Elliott, and 3 votes was to the man. I think, Mick, you and I both agree with this one. Jordan De Goey, as far as influence on the game, 26 disposals, a goal, 8 score involvement, 6 clearances. He looked back to his very, very best tonight.
He's one of those guys that, as a broadcaster, I don't break for Collingwood, but you love calling Jordan to go. Guys that just make something happen and that explosive speed.
He's just a bull, isn't he?
Strong. And there's something about him that every time he goes near the footy, it feels like the game's about to change in a different direction. So 3 for De Goey, 2 for Elliott, 1 for Langford. I like those votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Let's go back into the Collingwood rooms. Tim Hodges. Hodgie.
The milestone man has been good enough to join us, guys. Tim Membry, game 200. Congratulations on the win. Did you nearly give it away there in the last quarter and think this isn't going to happen tonight?
It crossed the mind a little bit. But no, we knew we just had to tidy up a few things structurally around the ball, and that's exactly what happened. I think Pendles went back there for a little bit just to give the boys a bit of security, and he really helped us there with his ball use. But, it's always exciting finish when we're coming, and I was pretty confident we were going to run over them.
What can a win like that do for the resolve with your next assignment, September?
Yeah, clearly we haven't been playing our best footy probably the last month, but I think last week, even though we didn't get the result, we certainly played some strong footy. Our pressure was back, our contest was strong, so we knew we just had to dial it up again. It was good in patches tonight, but I think a win like that just really gives the boys that great belief that we can start it up again.
Before I send it up to the boys to talk to you about the game, just personally, your moment, to have your little girl in the song with you, to have the moment at the end of the game coming off the ground, that must be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a special a milestone. With the family here tonight, all my mates here as well, so it's something that I'll kick back and just enjoy having them here and soak up the moment.
It's this entire mob here, right?
Yeah.
How many have we got?
There's a few of them there, and there's a few over in the other corner there, but they're all here just supporting, which is great.
And how many kids have you got? There's one in the little ballerina outfit.
Yeah, I've got 2 girls and one little boy who's about 6 weeks old. So the 2 girls are just floating around in the ballerina outfits, looking, very nice.
And the young fella make it, or is he home?
He is here somewhere. I think that's my wife over there, but she's got him, I think he's still snoozing.
Nice one. That's enough. From me, I'll send you upstairs to the experts, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
Well, Tim, congratulations all round on the 6-week-old and also on the 200 games. Fantastic effort. I'm probably going to go straight to the negative. Let's get that one out of the way. What did you sense happened in that third quarter? What were Melbourne able to throw at you that got them the lead and got them all the momentum?
I think their ball movement, they were just able to hang on to it for a lot longer. We weren't able to get our pressure at them. They sort of chipped it around a little bit, and then they were able to go through us through the corridor. So we probably weren't able to shut them down and force them long to a contest, which would bring our pressure into it. I felt like they got through us a little bit too easy.
And were you able to working on it out on the field, or did it take the three-quarter time break for Craig McRae to reset the group and understand what was happening? What's the communication like there?
No, we certainly were all over it while we're out there. We were just it's one of those things when they just sort of get a roll on and they can pick you apart and you're trying to defend the corridor, but it's opening up little lanes, so you can't really do it all at times, but I think once we sort of got to the break, able to look at a couple of numbers and address and see how it was, then we were able to stem the flow a little bit and able to go back at him in that last.
This might seem like a stupid question because clearly you piled on some goals late and your footy looked great when you did speed things up, but do you think in general you need to speed things up for the entire game and actually get that almost frantic ball use happening a little bit more, because we saw you play your very best footy at times doing that?
Yeah, I think it's certainly our brand of footy when we turn and go and go at them, and it doesn't allow the defence to get set. When we can get 1v1s ahead of the ball and in space, we've got some dangerous forwards, so we certainly want to go quick and go at them, but at times teams have been able to just slow us up, and we've had to sort of work out some other ways to go forward.
Tim, congratulations. It's a wonderful career. Can you just give us a little bit of an insight into the three clubs? Not necessarily, we don't want to know negatives, but how you started. Then you had a lot of good years at St Kilda. Now you're at Collingwood. Just mainly the differences, how you found it as a young fella leaving from Gippy going to Sydney first up.
I was very excited to get out of Gippy and get out of Traralgon and head up to Sydney. I'd heard a lot about the lifestyle, and to get up there, and I have got some great mates still that I keep in contact with, and it's a great lifestyle. And then I was behind a few of the some big names up there in Goodsey and Buddy Franklin and
oh really
Tippett, if you know those guys. And then I got some got an opportunity to come back down to St Kilda and where I played a lot of my footy, and now knowing that I can still probably play some footy, and Collingwood were able to find a deal for me, which I'm absolutely loving my time. I still pinch myself, to be honest.
Yeah, and just the connection between you and Elliott and McStay and Myercheck and these sort of players, they're all marking players. You've no doubt found your niche as far as the way you want to play.
Yeah, I think it's something that's we've built up over this season. Each game it gives us different challenges and different defences, but they can't, I guess, stop us all. So we try and, share the load a little bit, and one of us will hopefully get off the chain and get on the end of a few.
Tim, congratulations on the milestone and the win tonight. Enjoy watching the footy across the rest of the weekend. I'm sure you'll have the live ladder in hand the whole way through.
Yeah, I'll be looking at it.
We'll see you in September.
Thanks very much.
Well done.
Tim Membry after his 200th game. All right, we're about to take you to Adelaide. It is three-quarter time there, and the Power lead by 6 points. That's right. Port Adelaide by 6 points at three-quarter time. So final quarter coming up there after coming from behind at the half. So big quarter for the Magpie. Pardon the pun.
It could
for the Power.
It could be for the Magpies though. They want the Power to win.
4-3 they kicked in that quarter. Port Adelaide to Gold Coast 1 straight. So this hurts the Suns' top 4 hopes. As you said, it will help the Collingwood Magpies, absolutely, with the way that it's positioned at the moment. Rest of the footy all weekend. Mick, I'll see you tomorrow from 12 noon. No, we're at Docklands.
Docklands, okay.
Just look at this extra little production meeting on air. You can tell how organised I am. I haven't told the key talent who the show's based around where the show is. But you always roll with the punches, Mick, as I know, so appreciate all of that. Have a good weekend, Lingy.
Thank you, Corbs.
Sunday's going to be awesome, of course. You'll hear it all right here on ABC Sport. So 3 games, starting with GWS up against St Kilda. Following that, it is the game that matters. Winner makes the 8, loser leaves town. It is Western Bulldogs and Fremantle, and then the nightcap up in Brisbane. So the Lions taking on the Hawks. Well done to you, Ben Cameron. We give him a lot of stick, but when he arrived at the ground tonight, he didn't know he was calling, and then just called the lights out. Did a great job. So well done to Ben, and all the best to Cal as well, who of course was a late out for us tonight. Thanks to Tim Hodges. Thanks to Leo Keefe for all his work. Craig's dominated in the box. He's white knuckling it on the way through with the Magpies throughout the night, and of course to the great Andrea Williamson back in the studio. All right, I think we're just about ready to take you to South Australia. Aaron Bryan's heading up the call. Collingwood by 6 points here at the MCG. So they'll go to bed tonight, third on the table, and they'll have the live ladder in hand, as the rest of us will, all weekend to see what happens and where the teams finish inside the top 8. All right, good night from the MCG. Collingwood by 6 points. Game on the line in Adelaide. It is the Power who lead the Suns by 6 points there.